Number 2. A shocker. Most of us think Bryce Young will be the first quarterback off the board. Mel is going C.J. Stroud, the quarterback at Ohio State. Number 3, Will Anderson Jr., the defensive end / outside linebacker at Alabama, goes to the Cardinals. Let me say this. I am not a Will Anderson fan because I just never felt like he took over games on a consistent basis. When I would watch Alabama play, I'd keep waiting for a big play to be made, and I just never saw Will Anderson Jr. make them. And if I'm taking you 3rd overall, you better be able to do that for me. Indianapolis selects Bryce Young with the 4th overall pick. So C.J. Stroud to Houston, Bryce Young to Indy at 4 overall. Don't get Chad Withrow mad with this one. Will Levis at Kentucky goes with the 5th overall pick to the Seattle Seahawks.
Seattle, interesting.
Well, Mel loves Will Levis.
Apparently.
I mean, he compared him to Troy Aikman. Mel loves him, and so he's got Seattle taking Will Levis, the quarterback out of Kentucky. Mel says he's the first quarterback on his board. He's got Will Levis at 5. So those are the 3 first-round quarterbacks, 2, 4, and 5 in Mel's mock draft. Detroit at 6 takes Tyree Wilson, a defensive end out of Texas Tech. I don't even know who that is. The Raiders at 7 go Peter Skoronski, the offensive tackle out of Northwestern. Now, this is where we have to start paying attention because we know the Titans' needs really are offensive line, wide receiver, and maybe some help in the secondary. But Peter Skoronski, Coach Bob Shoop, big fan of his out of Northwestern.
Mentioned him yesterday. Yeah, I think so.
He likes Skoronski. He's got Skoronski, Mel does, at 7 to the Raiders. Miles Murphy, the defensive end at Clemson, goes at 8 to Atlanta. I don't really know anything about him. At 9, Carolina, with the stupidest pick so far of Mel Kiper's first draft, Anthony Richardson, the quarterback out of Florida, with the 9th overall pick. What was it Trevor said yesterday? That if you draft Anthony Richardson in the first round, you should be banned from the league?
Something like that. Or revoked from being able to pick in the first round again, or something like that.
Mel has him at 9 to the Panthers. That is a Panther pick. The Eagles at 10 go Kalijah Cansey, a defensive tackle out of Pittsburgh. What? With the 11th overall pick, the NFL has welcomed radio host Jared Stillman to give the official Titans pick of the 2023 NFL Draft. Take it away, Jared. With the 11th overall pick in Mel Kiper Jr.'s Mock Draft 1.0, the Tennessee Titans select Paris Johnson Jr., offensive tackle, The Ohio State University. So there you go. Paris Johnson Jr. Mel Kiper writes at ESPN, quote, "The Tennessee Titans offense was a mess this season." That is true. Which resulted in the firing of coordinator Todd Downing. General manager John Robinson was also let go, and you have to think Robinson's inability to get the offensive line up to par contributed to it. Longtime left tackle Taylor Lewan has played just 20 games over the past 3 seasons. God, that's awful. And could be an off-season cap casualty. There might be an opening on the left side. Johnson played guard for the Buckeyes in 2021, but moved to left tackle in 2022, and he was tremendous. He will be a plug-and-play starter in the top 15 picks. Now, I saw Mel Kiper's big board, and I believe he has Paris Johnson as the 7th overall player in this year's upcoming draft. So if he's the 7th best player and you're getting him at 11, that is great value. Now, again, this is going off of Mel's board, and this is Mel's draft, and I love Mel, but it's Mel. Here's my thought on this. I kind of have a couple of reservations about Paris Johnson. Number one, when looking for a left tackle in this draft, if I'm using the 11th overall pick for a left tackle, I have to get a franchise left tackle. I mean, I'm talking about a guy who Trent Williams with the 49ers, somebody who is going to be here for 15 years at left tackle. I am talking Orlando Pace. I am talking those kind of players to where I draft him in the first round And he's there no matter what. And no matter what happens for the next 10, 15 years, I never have to worry about left tackle. Every draft, I never have to worry about it. The best players in the game that line up against that guy, he's got to stop them every time. I can't be worried about him on an island with Myles Garrett. I mean, you watch the Cowboys play the Niners. The Niners have the best left tackle in the league. Did Micah Parsons take over that game? Nope. That's what I got to have if I'm doing that. Unfortunately, I feel like I know the NFL too well to know that if there is a tackle that is that good, he's gone before the 11th overall pick. Again, I don't know much about Kalijah Cansey out of Pittsburgh. Maybe he's the next Aaron Donald, DT out of Pittsburgh. But if he's not, then a franchise left tackle is going ahead of him. Same with Tyree Wilson out of Texas Tech, defensive end. I mean, he better have 15 sacks a season or else he's going to go in the top 10. I mean, so when you're picking at 11, is he just a left tackle, like an okay left tackle, certainly a better than Dennis Daly left tackle, or is he a franchise left tackle? Because I need a franchise left tackle if I'm making that pick at 11. If I go with Paris Johnson with the 11th overall pick, now we don't even know who the line coach is going to be, which is a big part of this equation. But if I go Paris Johnson with the 11th overall pick, I need to never worry about left tackle again. And I just don't think that the value for that comes with the 11th overall pick. Maybe it does, but I mean, if you got a franchise left tackle, he's probably going at 5. If 3 quarterbacks go in the top 5, he's going at 6. So I have a hard time with that one there from Mel. The second thing that bothers me about Paris Johnson. Now, this could be like Dwayne Haskins playing over Joe Burrow at Ohio State. But Paris Johnson started at guard in 2021 and then kicked out to tackle this past season. Ian, do you know why Paris Johnson started at guard last year before moving out to left tackle this year?
Was it Nicholas Petit-Frere?
PT was their left tackle. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I've watched enough of PT this season to have a pretty good idea that he's not a franchise left tackle. So if I'm going to go with Paris Johnson with the 11th overall pick, after I drafted Petit-Frere in the 3rd round last year, I better know up and down every which way on Sunday as to why Ohio State had to play Paris Johnson at guard and Nicholas Petit-Frere at tackle. Like, I need to know from Ryan Day's mouth why you played Nicholas Petit-Frere, an above-average athlete. I mean, he's a good athlete. He was one of the top recruits in the country, PT was. But soft feet, not much of a bulldog mentality, probably an average right tackle, and that's probably the ceiling for Petit-Frere. Now, we'll see next year with a new line coach if he does a little bit better. And again, it's harder for rookies in the NFL that are on the offensive line to get it figured out because they don't practice in pads anymore and they don't have two-a-days. And so really the only practice you get on the line is in the scrimmages and in the games. And so it may take a full season for Petit-Frere to become a player, but that concerns me too. Now, Coach Shoop, and I consider him my top scout in all of this, Coach Shoop has coached against those guys. He loves Skoronski. He likes Paris Johnson. And then the other tackle that's available is Broderick Jones, and Mel's got him going at 16 to Washington. So there's probably 3 tackles, and I assume every tackle that they write in the first round is probably going to go 4 or 5 picks higher because there's such a premium on tackle in the draft. But Mel's got the Titans taking Paris Johnson Jr. out of Ohio State with the 11th overall pick. And to say that I have questions about that, I think do exist. The number one question is he a franchise left tackle? If you are telling me this is a franchise left tackle, this is Brad Hopkins, I'll take him with the 11th overall pick. If you're telling me it's Mike Munchak or Michael Roos, that I am literally getting 8 Pro Bowl seasons, 5 Pro Bowl seasons, but 11 solid years out of the left tackle spot, I'll take him. If not, I don't think it's worth it even with the 11th overall pick. Whoever gets picked with that pick has to start and play well immediately. and I have my concerns. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Your reaction to Mel Kiper Jr.'s first mock draft. Again, Parents Johnson Jr. out of Ohio State with the 11th overall pick. Your thoughts on it, your thoughts on where they should go, how they should approach the draft. 615-737-1025. Now, there's one caveat to this year's draft and the needs of the Titans that I think we have to keep in mind, and we'll get to that coming up next. Stillman and Company right here, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
185! Every team needs a quarterback. 185! Take! That's why we have
Hasselbeck, bootleg, rollout, toss, touchdown!
Tim.
You can run good plays at the right time.
ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck gives his expertise on all things NFL.
You evaluate players, and then you're turning them over to the coaching staff.
Every Tuesday at noon.
At the right time.
With Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. Tim on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Predators fans, Brewhouse South in Cool Springs and Brewhouse Highway 100 in Bellevue is your home for hockey action all season. They are Predators approved. All games are on, and they're even going to give you the sound. Get awesome game day drink specials. When you think hockey, think Brewhouse South on Galleria Boulevard in Cool Springs or Brewhouse Highway 100 in Bellevue. Go Preds!
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game is live and local.
And now, let's meet the starting lineups.
Robbie and Rex Road 6 to 9.
You are talking about a team that's building a roster.
Chase and Michelle 9 to 11.
He's still under contract.
It's not always X's and O's.
Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace 11 to 2.
Trades, free agents.
Let's get it going. I think this is a good hire.
And Stillman and Company 2 to 6.
I can give you one of the best coaches in the league.
And don't forget, we're your home for all things Nashville.
He scored!
Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
In St. Pete, Clearwater, Florida, every day is a great escape. With 35 miles of white sand, there's no better place to get away. So let's explore the secluded beaches of Fort DeSoto or paddle our way around Honeymoon Island. Let's kick back, kayak, and catch crimson sunsets. Let's trade snow boots for bathing suits. Let's make today and tomorrow a beach day. Let's shine. Plan your escape at visitstpeteclearwater.com.
Want to weigh in on the conversation?
It's a brain booster.
Slide into our DMs. Or just text or call at 615-737-1025. Our phone line is driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Strong opinions and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman and Company, presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
In this wide receiver class, there's Quentin Johnson, who has all the measurables: 6'4", pterodactyl, long arms, 215 pounds, twitchy after the catch. He's unique. If any receiver goes in the top 10, it's going to be Quentin Johnson out of TCU. After that, there's a little bit of a dip. Jordan Addison, I love his game. He's undersized. I'm not saying he's Marvin Harrison, but he's kind of like built in that mold where he can track the ball vertically. He's such a smooth route runner. He knows how to get open, and he's going to consistently be a big-time playmaker, but he's not the 6'2", 6'3" kind of guy. And then Zay Flowers, to me, is probably number 3 in terms of the wide receivers. And there are some other really good, talented wide receivers too. But it's not, it's not the Jamar Chase class. It's not the classes that we've seen in recent years. But there is good talent, and there's a lot of depth when you get into the second and third rounds.
There you go. That was Todd McShay on ESPN talking about the draft and the wide receiving class because, again, Mel Kiper's first mock draft just came out, and Mel said he would go with the 11th pick, Paris Johnson Jr., the tackle out of Ohio State. That would be the second tackle off the board. Peter Skoronski is the first tackle that would go off the board as far as Mel is concerned. I believe, 7 to the Raiders, that he has Skoronski going off the board. Now, Coach Shoup likes both guys, but this is going to be kind of a decent wide receiver class. You heard Todd McShay say that. Now, I want to talk about the value of the 11th overall pick for a second. There is a numerical value that's given to these picks. I think the 11th overall pick has a value of 1,250, according to the Jimmy Johnson draft pick chart. And so the first overall pick, for instance, is 3,000. So there is a legitimate value there. But to me, the 11th overall pick, I look at the two biggest needs of the Titans, wide receiver and left tackle or offensive line or whatever you want to say. To me, the Titans have two offensive linemen under contract for next season that are maybe starters in the NFL. Ben Jones, he's a little bit old. Is he going to retire? I don't think so. I don't know. I know this. I know Ben Jones will play football until they tell Ben Jones he can't play football anymore. So I'm assuming that Ben Jones is going to be the starting center. And then Nicholas Petit-Ferrer at right tackle-ish. Now, the new line coach, and I don't know who it's going to be, and neither do you, the new line coach is a big key in all this. Because what does he see out of Petit-Ferrer? Does he think that Petit-Ferrer could be a serviceable left tackle if you swing him to the other side? I don't know enough about offensive linemen to be able to tell you this. But those are things to keep in mind. So they're going to have to fill 3 offensive line spots. Maybe they re-sign Nate Davis. That would make it 2. So I need a lineman. I think we know you need a really good lineman for the way that this team wants to play. Whether it's left tackle, which would be preferable, but just a great lineman they need. The second thing I think we can all agree is a dynamic, game-changing, play-making wide receiver, which is why I bring up the pick. Because the 11th overall pick, unless the Titans decide to go quarterback with that pick, it needs to knock out one of those two boxes. Either I need a franchise offensive lineman or I need a dynamic, game-changing receiver. Now, this is where free agency comes into play. And this is why free agency is always before the draft but after the combine. Because teams are able to set their boards after the combine and have a feel for how these players rank against one another, and then they have about a week and a half before it's time to actually sign guys. Now, for the most part, teams have ideas of what they want to do in both before they start, but it allows the teams to kind of get an idea, okay, this is what would be available in the draft, this is what would be available in free agency. We go to the combine, we rank the players, we tamper with the agents about the free agents, who's actually going to be out there, who's not. And if you look at the markets for the wide receivers in free agency and the markets for the tackle position in free agency, it is night and day. And it is much better on the tackle side of things. Now, whether it's a game-changing left tackle like Orlando Brown Jr., who the Ravens couldn't sign to an extension, and now the Chiefs have used the franchise tag on him. You're talking probably about $25 million a year. If you want to go get that guy, you're probably talking about a 5-year 125 is probably what you're looking at for Orlando Brown Jr. And that's if the Chiefs don't re-sign him or re-tag him or whatever. Then there's other guys that are on the market that are legit. Mike McGlinchey, the starting right tackle in San Francisco, is going to hit the market. He's going to get a lot of money. You hear TD all the time talk about Andre Dillard. He's probably going to get some money, even though he's currently a backup. Kelvin Beachum, for instance, in Arizona, is a guy who's going to hit the market. Jawan Taylor is a tackle from Jacksonville, a starter who's going to hit the market. There are going to be starting tackles. They may not be great, but there are going to be starting tackles that are available. Wide receiver, not so much. Marvin Jones Jr., DJ Chark, really second-level guys. Now, I like Marvin Jones Jr., and in my free agency preview or my free agency plan, before, not this past season, but the season before that, I had the Titans going after Marvin Jones Jr. at about $10 million a year, and instead they decided to bring in the old broken-down Julio Jones. But outside of that, I mean, the wide receiver market is just brutal. That's why everybody was locking everybody up last year. McLaurin and AJ and Debo, and that's part of the reason is they didn't want these guys to get any closer. Now, those guys wanted their money, but Nelson Aguilar, no. Sterling Shepard, coming off of an ACL. DJ Chark, Randall Cobb, Alan Lazard, Jacoby Myers, Juju Smith-Schuster, who's really a tight end at this point in his career. Mecole Hardman is the one guy who I think is a legit, and maybe Alan Lazard, but both of those guys I think are aided by whom they play with at quarterback. And secondly, I don't think either is a legitimate number one receiver in the NFL. And with this 11th pick, the Titans need a number one receiver. So if I'm going to use the 11th overall pick, and Quentin Johnston at TCU profiles to be a number one guy, or Jordan Addison at USC profiles to be a number one guy, or Jackson Smith in Jigba at Ohio State, who was all the talk before the season, but then hurt his hamstring and never played. If those guys profile to be number one receivers, then I almost have to take them before I would take a tackle, because then my plan can be in free agency to go after the tackle. The other thing that the 11th overall pick gives the Titans is I don't know who it's going to be, but somebody is going to be disgruntled. Some wide receiver. These guys change teams all the time. Stephon Diggs, traded from Minnesota. A.J. Brown, traded from Tennessee. Devontae Adams, traded from Green Bay. Tyreek Hill, traded from Kansas City. All these guys get traded. So I don't know who it's going to be or what team's owner is going to look at their checkbook, not their cap, but is going to look at the money and say, well, we can't pay this wide receiver $25 million a year. And then you could deal the 11th overall pick, but it better be for somebody great. Because remember, Philadelphia had the 13th pick in last year's draft and didn't trade that for AJ. They traded the 18th pick in last year's draft for AJ. So whatever comes of this, I think the Titans have the budget for one big free agent signing and a one top draft choice who needs to be a game-changing player with the 11th overall pick. And that's what I need out of those two. The market tells me I'm more likely to be able to sign a tackle than I would be able to sign a receiver. Now, guys will get franchised and things like that, and I still have other holes like tight end and maybe another corner, and Bud Dupree's going to be out of here, so do you fill his slot and things like that? But just looking at the markets, you're probably better off trying to draft your receiver than you are your tackle, because you may be able to find that on the market. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'll get to your phones. 615-737-1025. Plus, Mel Kiper's got quarterbacks going at 2, 4, and 5 in the first round. Now, I have heard that this is not a great quarterback class, but if you want one of those quarterbacks, if you're one of the people that says, Jared, the Titans have got to find their quarterback of the future in this draft class, i.e. Derek Mason, if you think that, I will tell you what it will take in order to get the 5th overall pick so you can get one of the 3 quarterbacks Mel has in the top 5. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company, and then your phones, 102.5-106.3 The Game.
It's a new era for the Tennessee Titans.
I would like to introduce Brian Carthon as the Tennessee Titans general manager.
What will be his first move? Who will be the Titans offensive coordinator?
Mike Vrabel is the top of my to-do list, forging a relationship and coming up with our plan on how to build this roster.
I believe in his history. I believe in where he's been and his pedigree.
Keep it locked to Nashville's best Titans talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hi guys, it's Mark. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction? Did you know that a major medical breakthrough is now available and it isn't a pill? Today, Wednesday, January 25th, we're running a one-day special you won't want to miss out on. Hillside Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy. This is a technology clinically shown to repair blood vessels and improve blood flow. It's backed by 60 clinical studies, including from Cambridge. If you're ready to regain the spark in your bedroom, today is your day. Call us now and you'll qualify for the assessment and ultrasound totally free. You'll also get a gift that can produce rapid and powerful results in the bedroom in minutes. You're going to love that one, guys. Trust me. And today only, we're offering 6 tune-up treatments to our patients free. This is an unprecedented offer worth hundreds of dollars, but call today and qualify totally free. Call 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your life back. Call Hillside Medical Clinic now to qualify. This offer ends today, Wednesday, 615-576-5000.
Al Gill here from my friends at Dunkin'. Warm up and feel the love with Dunkin'. Treat yourself and a loved one to a brown butter toffee hot or iced latte, which is superb paired with the bacon avocado tomato sandwich. Be sure to try the all-new stuffed biscuit bites. It's a warm biscuit dough wrapped around a mixture of bacon, scrambled egg, and cheddar cheese. Visit us at our newly remodeled Dunkin' on Briley Parkway in Nashville or the new Dunkin' in Mount Juliet and our other locations throughout Middle Tennessee. Price and participation may vary. Limited time offer. Terms apply.
When Smashville wants to rock.
I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. Looking to the sky to save it, looking for a sign of life, 'cause it's too cold for you here.
We are Nashville's rock station. 102.9 The Buzz.
Hey, you think mortgage rates are still super high? Well, think again. Rates have plummeted to a 5-month low. Hey, Willie Donick here. Call my friends at Loan Pronto now to see how low rates are. It may be time to do that refinance you've been putting off, or time to get back to house hunting. If you're like a lot of people, you've got way too much credit card debt right now, and you're getting fleeced with 20+% interest charges every month, or maybe your current home rate is over 6%. So if that applies to any of you, listen, you can get a quick, easy refi at Loan Pronto. Wipe out all those cards. Close in about 14 days and cut your overall expenses by $500 a month or more. How does that sound to you? Right now, Loan Pronto is doing refis with APRs in the 4s. So call now to take advantage of this big rate drop. Get those credit cards to zero. Start that home improvement project, or get out of that 7% loan you were forced into last year. Here's the phone number, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
On the Thursday edition of Chase and Michelle, I'll have a one-on-one sit-down with Predators general manager David Poyle that you won't want to miss. Also, what's next for the Titans in their offensive coordinator search, and Casey Alexander, Belmont basketball coach, will join us at 10:45. The fun begins at 9 on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Hey Nashville, this is Gary Bettman. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Now tell me this, which quarterback will be the best pro?
Molly, as far as my rankings, it's Will Levis from Kentucky. And you got to forget this year, he was banged up. He was beat up, played behind a horrible offensive line. Go back to 2021 when he had some help. He had Luke Fortner anchoring that offensive line, who did a heck of a job with the Jacksonville Jaguars this year. Darian Kennard was there as well on that O-line. He had Wan'Dale Robinson, who was now a New York Giant, catching the football. He was 10-3. He was outstanding. Had 9 rushing touchdowns. He had 2 rushing touchdowns before he was hurt. When he was hurt, he only had 0. Last 8 games, 0 rushing touchdowns, played with multiple injuries, played through those injuries, gutted it out, got himself on the field every week till the end, okay, when he had to say, hey, I got to let my body heal. Will Levis, to me, forget the turnovers. You got to make plays. Turnovers happen when you got to force plays. Tennessee game 3 picks. They're behind. What's the difference? You lose 30-0 or you lose 50-0, right? So Will Levis, to me, is the guy who may not be the first quarterback taken, but will be the best quarterback out of this draft. And we've seen that over the years. Guys that are the best quarterbacks aren't always the first or even the second quarterback taken in the first round that particular year.
Mel Kiper is willing to die on this hill that Will Levis is the best quarterback in this draft. And I will say this, there's this website group, I don't know what you want to call them. It's called the 33rd Team. It's a bunch of former NFL GMs and coaches that are working for the 33rd team, guys like Mike Tannenbaum and Mark Trestman and others, and they had a mock draft, and in their mock draft, they had Will Levis going number 1 overall. I think it was Indianapolis trades up to 1 and drafts Will Levis. So I don't know why Mel's pants are just all the way down for Will Levis, but he will not stop with how much he loves him. Now, I do have a thought. If you want to move up, Mel has Will Levis at number 5 in his latest mock draft. And if you want to get up there and you want to get one of those quarterbacks, I have a pretty good idea of what it's going to cost. Ken, though, wants to get in on this, so he's going to kick us off. Phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Ken, what do you have? Go ahead.
Yeah, first of all, I don't know what this Mel Kiper guy's smoking. Will Levis, look, I watch SEC football games every week, as you do. I'm an armchair quarterback, love college football. We've been watching SEC for years. Will Levis is not even the third best quarterback in the SEC, much less in the NFL draft board. I mean, look, Bryce Young is the man. He's the franchise quarterback this year, way better than C.J. Stroud, no doubt about it. So this is what I do if I'm the Titans. I trade the number 11 pick, my first-round pick, and Derrick Henry to the Chicago Bears, along with my number 1 next year. I take Bryce Young, number 1, and then I draft Devin A-Chain, the best running back in college football at Texas A&M, with my second pick. And then I like what you said about trading for a wide receiver. They're out there. You can go trade and get you a number 1 wide receiver. That's how you.
Well, I can't trade. If I deal my first-round pick, I can't trade for a receiver.
No, you can trade for a receiver. You can trade
not if I deal my first-round pick in each of the next 2 years. What am I going to deal?
Okay. Well,
here's the problem. Chicago, and I appreciate your call, Ken. I don't think Chicago is going to want Derrick Henry. I mean, I love Derrick Henry, and I think that in my opinion, nobody values Derrick Henry more than you do. Derrick Henry has the most value here, and I don't think they view him as a first-round pick. Here's what it would cost. If you want to move up to the 5th overall pick in this draft, because, again, Mel has in his latest mock draft C.J. Stroud at 2 to Houston, Bryce Young at 4 to Indianapolis, Will Levis at 5 to Seattle. If you want to move up to 5, well, where do you want to start, Ian? Do you want to start with moving up to 5 or moving up to number 1?
5.
Okay. You want to move up to 5. Now, you'll have to do this on draft day, and there is no telling if all the quarterbacks will be gone by then or if all the quarterbacks will still be available then. But just according to the value chart for the pick, the 11th overall pick has a value of $1,250. Keep that number in mind. And I hope I don't bore people with this, but the value is $1,250. The 5th overall pick is $1,700. So you're talking about a difference of $450. Well, what would that mean? The Titans hold the 41st pick in this draft, and that has a value of $490. So in order to get the 5th pick, you would have to trade your first-round pick and your second-round pick to Seattle for their first-round pick, which is 5th overall, and Seattle's 5th-round pick in order to make it an even trade. But if you were to do this, and again, Tannehill is still under contract for next year, if you were to do this, you're now giving up 2 players, and I think we all would agree that you expect a first-rounder to start and a second-rounder to start. You are trading 2 players in order to take a quarterback who's probably going to sit on the bench behind Tannehill. So how do you get better for next season if you're doing that? That's if you want the 5th pick. If you want to do what the caller said and you want to go up to number 1 and get Bryce Young, here's what it would cost. The Titans' first-round pick this year, their first-round pick next year, their second-round pick this year, and their second-round pick next year. That's what it would cost in order to move up to number 1 with Chicago. And that is if Chicago does not have anybody else who is more interested. For example, let's say the Texans really, really like one of their quarterbacks, and they do not want, and let's say they hate the other guys. So they're picking at 2, they love one of the quarterbacks, and they hate the other guys, and they cannot let the Tennessee Titans take the first overall quarterback because they have the guy graded as Joe Burrow. Let's say it's Bryce Young. Just use him as the example. So the Texans have Bryce Young graded as well as Joe Burrow. So Houston says, okay, we cannot let Tennessee move up and take Joe Burrow. Well, ask yourself this. Would flipping 1 and 2 and dealing the 12th overall pick, which is what Houston has from Cleveland in exchange for Deshaun Watson, would that be worth who you have valued as the next Joe Burrow? And you know the answer is yes. So now Chicago's going to come back to you, and they're going to say, we want your 1 this year, your 1 next year, your 2 2s, and we want something else. And something real good. Because I've got the first pick and the 12th pick because they're trying to keep you from getting the next Joe Burrow. And because of the immediacy of all of this, whatever it is you do will have a higher value today. Texter says into the text line, Will Levis will have the same type of career as Baker Mayfield and maybe even Johnny Manziel. I don't know how you can say that. Baker Mayfield has had a decent career. Johnny Manziel had no career. I have no opinion on Will Levis other than this. I don't care who your offensive coordinator is. I don't care who your receivers are. I don't care who your offensive line is. I don't care who your running back is. If you can't throw for 200 yards and beat Vanderbilt at home, I can't take you in the top 10. I can't do it. Now, look, Patrick Mahomes didn't win a ton of games in college, but I cannot take Will Levis in the top 10. If you can't beat Vandy, I'm supposed to take you in the top 10. At some point, your performance in college football matters. I mean, Joe Burrow, for an entire season, absolutely made every throw and killed everybody. Now, he had great players around him, no doubt. But Joe Burrow took a franchise led by Ed Orgeron that nobody thought was going to hit the pinnacle anytime soon, certainly not compete with Alabama, and overnight made them a national title contender, won the championship, and as soon as he left, it went back to the same old, I don't know what I'm doing on the sidelines. Go Tigers. It went right back to that. So at some point, the games matter. That's my hard part with C.J. Stroud, is that too many times Ohio State was in these dogfights. You know, if I'm going to take a guy who quarterbacked Ohio State for 2 years, and I'm going to take him with the 2nd overall pick like Mel has in his latest mock draft, somebody better explain to me why Michigan beat the crap out of him the last 2 years. The games do matter. They're not the end-all, be-all. And you never know who at Eastern Lafayette State is a great player. But these games matter. When I was in college, I was actually one of my buddies from college who played in the major leagues. He was in town a couple of weeks ago, and we were actually talking about this. But when I was in college, the first year or second year Charlie Strong was the coach. This was my senior year. Second game, we played Florida International, and they beat the crap out of us. And there was this one wide receiver that was running all up and down the field. And after we got crushed by FIU, there was all this talk of, like, is Charlie Strong a good coach? Is Louisville ever going to be any good again? Like, what's going on here? That player was named T.Y. Hilton. He had touchdown grabs of like 80 yards and 76 yards. He killed us. Like 6 grabs for 205 or something ridiculous like that. I asked my buddy from college, I was like, do you remember the game that T.Y. Hilton went absolutely ham on Louisville? He's like, oh, dude, T.Y. Hilton was – I had never heard of T.Y. Hilton before that day. And after that, I was like, whoever that guy is for FIU, he can ball. And my whole point with that is that the games do matter a little bit. So I have a hard time, you know, on the Levis front, like Mel Kiper loves him. But if you want him, that's what it will cost you. I mean, that's what it will take if you want to move up and you want to draft one of these quarterbacks. And again, you know, Bob, I don't think he's in love with these quarterbacks. Trevor, I don't think he's in love with these quarterbacks. I had Randy Mueller, a former NFL general manager, on SiriusXM last month, and he said what he's hearing inside those buildings and what the draft gurus are saying about the quarterbacks that are available in this draft are not the same. But if you want, that's what it would take to get up to 5. Chris Sanders joins us next, former Titans wide receiver. We're going to ask him this. What does he think the biggest priority is now after the hiring of Ran Carthon? And what are they going to do at the quarterback position? Chris Sanders joins us next. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Every Wednesday at noon.
That fits the mentality of what they're going to do.
Outkick 360's Jonathan Hutton joins Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace to talk all things Titans and NFL.
Much more creative in how you go about calling certain plays.
He's got opinions and insights on the two-tone blue.
That doesn't mean that you can't have great or don't need great quarterback play.
Catch Hutton every Wednesday at noon on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
The National Wild Turkey Federation is celebrating 50 years of conservation delivery during this year's convention and sports show, set for February 16th through 18th at Gaylord Opryland Resort and Convention Center in Nashville, Tennessee. Come celebrate the golden anniversary with members, volunteers, partners, and countless outdoor enthusiasts. You can expect the same great nightly events, quality entertainment in the watering hole, and the latest gear from more than 450 companies featured in their exhibit hall. For more info, go to nwtf.org.
At Genesis Diamonds, it's not just a new year. It's a new opportunity to bring you more choices, more value, more ways to celebrate your love. So we've expanded our selection of exquisite hand-picked diamonds from a half carat to 15 carats, all shapes, all sizes, all at our famous no middleman prices. This year especially, we know price matters, and we're committed to delivering the best value every day. We've also brought in even more exclusive designer jewelry, new cutting-edge fashion-forward rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, pendants, things you can't find anywhere else. And of course, Genesis is proud to offer a truly spectacular collection of luxury pre-owned Rolex timepieces. We have all the most popular models in stock with no wait list and no restrictions. Is this the year you reward yourself with a premier name and timepieces? Come to Genesis in 2023 and let our non-commissioned experts help you celebrate those important milestones. We guarantee the best value, the highest quality, and the strongest warranties and guarantees in the jewelry industry. Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes.
Hey, it's Jared. Are you looking to move? If so, do yourself a favor and reach out to my friends at TriStar Moving. You can be assured your move will be stress-free because they've got new utility vans to help with pack jobs to separate your high-value or fragile items from the bulk of your furniture, and their movers are carefully picked and highly trained. No one in the game is doing this. TriStar Moving is raising the standard in the moving industry. When you're ready to move, give them a call. TriStar Moving, 615-640-1219, or online at nationalmoving.org/radio, and tell them Jared Stillman referred you for 10% off. That's TriStar Moving.
Hey, it's Chase McCabe, and in the past, hair loss was inevitable. But now, you have a choice for thicker, fuller hair. Trust the experts with 45 years of experience at Hair Club. They've helped more than 500,000 clients love their hair again. No matter your age, stage of hair loss, or budget, Hair Club can customize a solution for you. And for a limited time, you can get 10% off when you book a free consultation today at hairclub.com/chase. That's hairclub.com/chase.
Join the Nashville Chamber of Commerce for YP Nashville Connect 2023. This Thursday, YP Connect will be in the East Club at Nissan Stadium. This after-hours trade show-style event connects young professionals to community impact opportunities with YP Nashville member organizations. As the largest gathering of young professionals in Nashville, YP Connect is a great way to get you plugged into Nashville's expansive young professional community. Register online for the next event at NashvilleChamber.com. That's NashvilleChamber.com.
One is smart.
This has just been a constant trend for this team.
One is funny.
That's right.
Funny looking, maybe. Chase and Michelle with Chase McCabe and Michelle Knezovic.
Are you listening?
I'm listening.
Everybody's listening.
Weekdays from 9 to 11. Presented by Hair Club. Hair Club. Love your hair. Live your life. On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company, presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
What do you think of Ryan Tannehill, and is he your quarterback?
I don't think that's fair. At this point, we're still evaluating the roster. I am, and that's going to take further conversations with me and Mike. Ryan has been great here. He's won a lot of football games, and I look forward to us winning football games, but I still need more time to evaluate and make those decisions. As you know, this is a quarterback-driven league, and people are hired and fired every day over that position. So I want to spend more time evaluating that position, so I'll have my own opinion, and Mike and I will confer and figure it out.
Rand Carthon, Titans general manager, says it's too early to evaluate Ryan Tannehill. Not a good sign for Ryan Tannehill going forward. With that, Chris Sanders, former Titans receiver, joins us now on the program. Chris, let's start with that.
Yeah.
Who do you think should be quarterbacking the Titans in 2023?
I mean, it all depends on, the directions the Tennessee Titans want to do. If they want to just, build off what Tannehill's done, then you stay with Tannehill. But if they want to start all over and get a fresh quarterback in, then I think you try to fix it with getting Tom Brady or Rodgers. But in my opinion, what I want to see, I would love to see them running back with Tannehill and Derrick Henry again. Because the thing about it is if you get your quarterback solidified early, then now you can start building and putting the pieces together to get a winning championship team, because now they got to address the offensive line, they got to address the wide receiver position, they got to address a little bit of things on the defense and the secondary. So if you have your quarterback set, then now you can just build on that. That's just how I kind of look at it.
Would you have any interest in drafting a quarterback high in this year's draft?
I mean, it's tough. If Mike Vrabel and Carthon want to just start fresh and get a quarterback, yes. Because if you look at this quarterback, I think it's rich in quarterback. You got Bryce Young from Alabama, you got C.J. Stroud from Ohio State, you got a guy from Kentucky, Will Levis, you got Clayton Tune from Houston, and Anthony Richardson from Florida. So it's a rich class of quarterbacks. But at the end of the day, if you're drafting at 11, he better be a franchise quarterback, not just a guy just coming in just to play quarterback.
And if he's actually a franchise quarterback, I doubt he'll be there at 11.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Which would be kind of the hard part here.
True.
Chris is with us. I agree with you. I want to run it back with Tannehill next season. If I can't get Brady or Rodgers, and with Rodgers, it would have to be at a fair price. With Rodgers, I have to trade, and then I have to give him $60 million. With Brady, he's just a straight free agent. So with that being said, between Brady or Rodgers, if you had to pick between the two, who would you pick?
You know what? I would go with Brady, because the reason why I go with Brady is because of the relationship that he has with Mike Vrabel. They know each other. They crack jokes and do all those things. So they're familiar with each other. In my opinion, the reason why I would get Rodgers, and I say this in a respectful way, but his attitude sucks. And I just don't want a guy in my locker room that's going to disrupt everything that Mike Vrabel has built, the culture. We always talk about culture, and when you have a good culture, that means you have guys that are on the same page. I say this in a respectful way. I just don't think that Rodgers is a Mike Vrabel guy, because at the end of the day, you want a quarterback that's going to respect you, and I just think that Rodgers is just all about himself. So I would go with Brady before Rodgers.
Okay, Chris Sanders is with us. You want to run it back with Tannehill.
Absolutely.
I want to run it back with Tannehill unless you get the guarantee that Tom Brady is coming here. I want to run it back with Tannehill. I do ask this question.
Sure.
You heard what Rand Carthon said there. Mike Vrabel did not commit to Tannehill after the season was over. Amy Adams Strunk told Mike Keith, said there are going to be some tough decisions and forecasted major change potentially coming down the pipe. Do you think the Titans feel the way that you and I do, that they want to run it back with Ryan Tannehill?
Absolutely not. And then the reason why I say that Tannehill's gone is because if you look at you even asked a question, with Derrick Henry. You said, can you win a championship and build around Derrick Henry? They jumped up and they perked up. They said, absolutely. What does that say? That means they were committed to Derrick Henry. But then they asked the question about, are you going to keep Tannehill? But then they say, we got to evaluate him. So what do you evaluate? You can talk to the coaches with Pat O'Hara, the quarterback coach. You can talk to Mike Vrabel. You can talk to different people in that organization to get an answer. But when you talked about Henry, it was a quick response to say, you know what, we can build around him. But when you say Tannehill, you say, I got to evaluate. So 10 times out of 10, I think that Tannehill's gone, and they're going to get Brady, Rodgers, Derek Carr, or somebody in the draft.
Oh, Derek Carr.
No, I'm just throwing it out there. But who else is out there?
I hear you. So I think about it this. Here's kind of the quarterback board, right? Mm-hmm. I think you and I can agree Jackson's out of the equation, right? Lamar Jackson?
Yeah. He don't even fit the scheme.
Well, not only that, the Titans aren't going to pay him. So,
absolutely.
I mean, you got to give him the Deshaun Watson contract, and I'm not doing that. So, so Jackson's out. So now that means that this is my quarterback board. You've got Tannehill, Brady, Rodgers, Carr, Garoppolo, Baker Mayfield, a trade with San Francisco for Trey Lance, or a quarterback in the draft. And in order to draft a quarterback, you're probably going to have to move up into the top 5, which will probably cost you your first-round pick next year. With that being said, other than Brady, who's a straight free agent, Are any of those names more appealing to you than Ryan Tannehill?
No, I mean, absolutely not. Because when you're talking about the draft and all those names that we named, like Bryce Young, Stroud, Will Levis from Kentucky, you're going to have to start all over. But at least if you have Tannehill in, he knows the system, he knows the players, he knows what he wants to do. So if you're bringing somebody in new that's not Brady, that's not experienced to adapt to what's going on, it's a recipe for a disaster. So I just think let's run this back with Tannehill, which they're probably not, because you can tell by the tone of Carthon and Mike Vrabel. But if it was my opinion, I'm bringing Tannehill and running this thing back hands down.
Chris Sanders is our guest. With the 11th overall pick, I think the Titans have to knock out a major need, whether it's drafting a tackle or drafting a receiver, and then I think they're going to have to knock out the other need in free agency. Yep. The tackle class looks a lot better than the receivers. What do you make of the receiver position with the 11th overall pick, and how important, even though Burks is probably going to get a little bit better, how important would it be to add a high talented player at that position?
I mean, you could, but I think at 11, I think you're stretching a little bit. I think this wide receiver class is rich with some young talent. And the one cat that I love that we're kind of talking about, but not really, is a guy from UT, Jalen Hyatt. I mean, we need some speed. We talked to Mike Vrabel and Catron has talking about they need to get some speed on the offensive side. So if you want to get somebody that's fast, you want to get that guy from UT. And then also, you got Quentin Johnson from TCU. He's a vertical threat. He's a big body, make those plays downfield. But with those two guys, with Johnson, he still kind of reminds me of Berg, big body. But we need somebody to where it puts fear in the defense. And I think the guy, I'm not saying they get him at 11, but I think one of the guys that can really help the Tennessee Titans is Jalen Hyatt from UT, vertical threat.
What do you make of the fact that he doesn't make a lot of contested catches and he's undersized?
It don't matter. He makes plays, but here's the kicker, and I'm glad you kind of said that. But are you talking about Wyatt from UT, right?
Yeah, Hyatt.
Okay. Here's the deal. When he played against Alabama, that joker caught 3 touchdowns. So you're talking about elite corners. You got.
Well, I think he caught 5, but he was wide open on every play, and they had a safety on him.
He was wide open. You're right, but he had to get open. So that's the key. And I was talking to TD earlier today, and I said the exact same thing, that, the Tennessee Titans need speed or whatever. But he said this. He said, I want to see what he does at the line of scrimmage. So if he can get off the press and with his speed and with his explosiveness, I think that's a good pick in the second round.
Chris Sanders is with us. To you,
yes.
What do you make of the Rand Carthon press conference from the other day? What was your initial impression?
I love what he talked about. He always talked about, working with Mike Vrabel and working with Amy Shrunk. And I think I know that's coach talk and I know that's cliches, but you can tell that he's genuine and he definitely wants to do that because he understands that, a way to build a team is you can't do it by yourself. You got to have, unity in the front office, because if they don't have unity in the front office, how are you going to have unity on the field? So that's the one thing I took away from him, and just also just listening to what he was talking about. He understands what he wants. He understands what he wants to build. He understands that he worked in pro personnel, so he understands how to scout guys. But even when he scouts guys by himself, he understands that he can't do it by himself. He's got to do it with a team of people, and he always mentioned Mike Vrabel and Amy Shrunk. So that's a good sign by the things that I heard away from him.
Chris Sanders, as always, our guest on the program. He wants to run it back with Tannehill, but he, like me, does not believe the Titans are going to run it back with Tannehill.
They're not going to bring it back.
There you go, Chris Sanders. Chris, great stuff. We'll talk soon.
Appreciate you, my man.
Yep, take care. Chris Sanders, he is the best, joining us on the program. I'm glad I'm not the only person out there in the world that thinks the Titans are donezo with Tannehill. I kept thinking back to that Rand Carthon thing where he pled the fifth on Tannehill.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he was prepared to do that?
For that question?
Yeah.
I wonder if he was if he was expecting to get asked about the quarterback situation going in. Probably so. I would think so, right?
You would have to.
You would have to think someone's going to ask about at least you have to think of it as a possibility to be asked about the future of quarterback.
So for his response to be the nice way of saying no comment, I mean, that is not great for Ryan Tannehill. Speaking of quarterbacks in the draft, Mel's got C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, and Will Levis in the top 5. He's got Anthony Richardson in the top 10. Now, I have talked it over with my scouts and what they have told me about those quarterbacks, and we will get to that next. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106 through the game.
You love the game.
The door's on the board. Touchdown at TSU.
We live the game.
Going up against that defense, he can make some plays and take that next step.
We are
A gunny performance. Do your job.
And the Tigers regain the lead.
the game. Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
If you missed the latest from Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace.
I can't say I was really surprised. It's like I was saying, I was really hoping. I think we should say this is a historic hire.
Yeah, it
right?
is.
And I'm
yes.
really excited about that part of it, and I hope this is the right guy. I grew up watching his dad, Maurice Carthon. You remember him?
Yes.
He was an sort of an unheralded key Bill Parcells guy, right? He was
fullback.
the quintessential Bill Parcells role player, fullback for Joe Morris, some of those great Giants teams of the 80s. If you wind it back a little further, I was a junior high kid. The New Jersey Generals came down to Winter Park, Florida. Brian Sipe, remember Brian Sipe?
Yes.
Herschel Walker and Maurice Carthon, a really good USFL team at the time. They played an exhibition game at my high school field. I got to be a ball boy. I got all their autographs.
Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. Weekdays from 11 to 2 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
For the love of the climb. For the love of the fall. For the love of knowing your kids' laughter is the sweetest music there is. For the love of Tennessee. Travel safe. Brought to you by the Tennessee Department of Tourist Development, the Tennessee Association of Broadcasters, and this station.
Your Game Center update.
The Nashville Predators took down the Winnipeg Jets 2-1 last night, improving to 7-3-0 in their last 10 games. Defenseman Matthias Ekholm joined Chase and Michelle this morning and reflected on last night's win over the Jets.
All those games are going to be huge down the stretch for us with the position we're in. So good on us. I thought it was a really good team performance again. It was nice for us to. Sometimes it's really good to win a low-scoring affair too, and to one game and a tight game all the way to the end. So
Dov Kleeman reports that the Indianapolis Colts will interview interim head coach Jeff Saturday for a second time today, and Kleeman adds that the Colts would also like to interview 49ers defensive coordinator DeMeco Ryans. And the University of Tennessee has extended its athletic director Danny White to a rolling 6-year contract worth $2.2 million per year. The university also extended head football coach Josh Heupel yesterday to a contract extension worth reportedly $9 million per year. I'm Nick Kieser for 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 102.5 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Bobby and Rex Road. Chase and Michelle.
Caroline, Willie, D-Mace.
Stillman and Company.
Nashville's best sports talk.
Crank it up.
102.5 and 106.3.
Crank City scores.
On both sides of the one big possession.
Touchdown, Middle Tennessee.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have have a voice.
He had a competent coaching staff. You just play terrible and you keep playing.
And we have strong opinions.
What a whiny freaking crybaby response.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman & Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to Superbook Sports, live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. Mel Kiper's mock draft is out, his first one. And he's got 4 quarterbacks in the top 10. He's got C.J. Stroud at number 2 to Houston. He's got Bryce Young at number 4 to Indianapolis. He's got Will Levis at Kentucky at number 5 to Seattle. He's got Anthony Richardson at number 9 going to Carolina out of Florida. Now, I know what I think of these guys just from watching college football, which is not like I've sat there and watched Ohio State game after Ohio State game after Ohio State game to tell you what I think of C.J. Stroud. Just like, I think Bryce Young's pretty good, but Bryce Young's really little. That's what I know of that. Will Levis, I thought he stunk this year. I mean, how can Will Levis, they win the game against Ole Miss on the road, it gets called back because of a penalty, and then he fumbles the ball and they lose on the next play. He doesn't throw for 200 yards against Vandy, and they lose at home. But again, that's just from casually watching college football. And I think Anthony Richardson stinks. But that's just me, and that's just from casually watching college football, which is why I'm glad that we have the experts on this program, because I am dubbing them my scouts. And that is Coach Bob Shoop, who recruited these guys, coached against Bryce Young, coached against C.J. Stroud, coached against this past season, and held under 30 points Anthony Richardson in Florida while at South Florida. There's Coach Bob Shoop and Trevor Maddich, one of ESPN's top college football analysts. And I asked him yesterday, I asked my scouts about this quarterback class. I asked Coach Shoop, do you love any of the quarterbacks in this class? Here's what Coach Shoop said. Do you love any of these guys?
I like them all. I like them all, but I don't love them. I don't love them at 11 or higher, I suppose. And it's a quarterback-driven league, so more than one of them are going to be taken before 11, I assure you that. And the other thing to note, I would say, is that the fact of the matter is the 2 teams in your division are drafting 1 and 3 and are probably going to take them if you don't take them. You know, so your decision may ultimately be made for you. Now,
and so Coach is saying, hey, I like them, but I don't really love them as franchise guys. I need you to love them. I need you, if I'm picking at 11, and I'm going to move into the top 5 to take one of these guys, a la what Buffalo did in the 2018 draft to get Josh Allen, what Kansas City did to move up to 10 to take Patrick Mahomes in the first round and sit him on the bench. Andy Reid loved him. He loved him. And so they made the move. Buffalo, they spent a whole year scouting quarterbacks. They made the playoffs in 2017. But they knew, hey, we're not going to be able to run this with Tyrod Taylor, so we need to go get a better quarterback, and we have to spend all year scouting them and figure out which one we like. And they loved Josh Allen. It's easy when you're bad like Cincinnati was and you're able to draft Joe Burrow. But if you're going to go searching, and the Titans will never be that bad as long as Mike Vrabel is the coach. If you're going to go that route, you better love somebody. And my first scout, Bob, did not love him. The second thing Bob said is when comparing the early quarterbacks with the later quarterbacks, where the Titans will have picks in the second, the third, the fourth. Actually, I don't think they have a fourth. I think that's going to Atlanta for Julio Jones. But in these later rounds, you know, there may not be that much of a difference.
I guess my point is I'm not 100% sure that there's that much of a difference between the 4 guys that you're talking about as projected first-round picks and those guys who you might be seeing in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round.
I mean, if that's the case, am I really going to use the 11th overall pick on a quarterback if I can get a similar guy in the 5th round? By the way, Brock Purdy at San Francisco, you know who he reminds me the most of watching him play right now? Kenny Pickett. So Pittsburgh used a first-round pick. San Francisco used the last pick, and I think those guys are similar. Somewhat undersized, somewhat athletic. They got great gamer personalities to them as far as when the game is on the line. Those guys don't back down. They're not overly accurate. They're not overly strong-armed, but they're not weak-armed and completely inaccurate. They're very, in my opinion, when I watch Brock Purdy play, I see Kenny Pickett. And, again, that was the first quarterback and the last quarterback. Well, if there's such a big gap there, I'm not using the 11th overall pick on a quarterback. Then there was Trevor, and he went over each guy. And he started, my other scout, talking about Bryce Young.
Well, I don't think that Bryce Young will be there. And I think Bryce Young is the best of those quarterbacks. The problem is Bryce Young is just not a big guy. Now, he's played in the SEC. He's taken a lot of hits. He got hurt, missed a couple of games and about a month of practice in this last season. But it wasn't the kind of thing, it was a wear and tear injury. It was more of a guy fell on his leg injury. And so you would take the risk that he can stay healthy in the NFL. I think with a team like the Titans, he could, because if they get that offensive line squared away, then he's handing off and throwing play action. He's not having 7-step dropbacks in the pocket and having to look deep down the field all the time, which is what exposes quarterbacks to getting hit at awkward angles most of the time. But he won't be there, I don't think.
Okay, so does he love Bryce Young? Yeah, he's my favorite quarterback, but he's too little, and you won't be able to get him, and even if you do, you'll have to pay an arm and a leg, and you need to run play action to keep him from getting hit because he's too little. His second quarterback was C.J. Stroud.
C.J. Stroud of Ohio State. He would be an intriguing pick here. He gets a lot of grief from people, evaluating him because he played in that Ohio State offensive system that basically produced with some tweaks Justin Fields with the Bears, and others. The guy that Washington drafted, I'm spacing his name now, quarterback. Yes. And neither one of those guys came into the league prepared to really be an NFL passer. And so there's that. And they say that Ohio State's offense is very quarterback friendly, throwing to some of the best wide receivers in the country, springing guys wide open all the time. And I've done breakdowns on that. They do spring guys open. They give Stroud and those receivers an unfair schematic advantage at Ohio State because they're just so good at game planning guys open. But when you evaluate him just on the times that guys weren't open and he had to drop a dime, he did. When you evaluate him at times when he's got a rusher right in his face, and can he still make an accurate throw, he did a lot. And so for me, the question for C.J. Stroud is temperament. I mean, I don't know him. I've never met him. Does he have the temperament to play in the league? Just every time you look at his face, it looks like he's bored half to death. That doesn't mean he is. Maybe he's just amazingly calm. But at the same time, I would want to know that before I'd invest that pick.
So he's a little worried about Ohio State and him being a system quarterback. Then there's Will Levis at Kentucky, who Mel Kiper Jr. absolutely loves. Here's what Trevor said about him.
Will Levis of Kentucky, I wouldn't draft in the first round. I wouldn't do it. 2 years ago, he was phenomenal. He was incredible. But then he lost his best receiver. He lost a couple offensive linemen to the NFL. Starting this season out, his top running back was suspended for the first month or so of the season. They never were able to really put things together on offense, and I didn't see Will Levis elevating the team like I thought he could. I saw him throwing the ball to the other side an awful lot. He tried to elevate the team, but in doing so, he made a lot of terrible mistakes as well. So do you really want to invest a high first-round pick, or the 11th pick, on a guy that has that track record in college? And I would say no.
Okay, so he says no. No first-round pick on Will Levis. Anthony Richardson at 9 in Mel's latest mock draft. Here's what Trevor, my scout, said about him.
Anybody that takes Anthony Richardson, the Florida quarterback, in the first round ought to be banned from decision-making in the NFL for life.
Okay, so I think that's pretty straightforward. Again, my scouts, my experts on college football, a guy who was a defensive coordinator in college football last season and coached against Anthony Richardson, a guy who is ESPN's one of their top college football analysts, they both told me, these quarterbacks are okay. Maybe Bryce Young could be a franchise guy. He's too little. He's too frail. Maybe he could be a franchise guy. Maybe C.J. Stroud can be a franchise guy. I like him. I don't love him, Bob Shoop said. Well, if I'm using the 11th overall pick or I'm using next year's first in order to move up and go get a quarterback, I better love them. And my two scouts right there that know college football, they don't love these guys. It's easy. I listen to D. Mace talk on the midday show, and they got to go get a quarterback. They got to go get a quarterback. They got to go get a quarterback. Well, which guy are you going to get? Because my scouts don't love any of these guys. So if you're telling me I got to get a quarterback, 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 fine. It's draft night. Off the board at number 1, Chicago makes a trade. Quarterback 1's gone. Houston, number 2, quarterback 2's gone. Indianapolis, number 4, quarterback 3's gone. Well, now I got to get up to 4. And that's going to cost me my first next year and probably my second this year. And so now I'm doing that, and my scouts don't even love these guys. Does that sound like a sound plan to you? So make of that what you will. But I am telling you, my scouts, the experts we put on this show that know college football, as well as anybody in the country, they do not love these quarterbacks. And if you don't love these quarterbacks, you cannot invest in them like Andy Reid did in Patrick Mahomes or like Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane did in Josh Allen. You better love one of these guys, and you better be able to get them then. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'll go to your phones on that, 615-737-1025. I'm a big Brock Purdy fan. But if you think that what San Francisco is doing is the model for rookie quarterbacks, some quotes I saw from NFL scouts that didn't love Brock Purdy, I think at some level kind of show you what it would take for the Titans to be able to pull that off. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
The college football season never stops. ESPN college football analyst Trevor Manich joins Stillman and Company every Tuesday at 4:30.
They've got to do what Nick Saban in Alabama has done so successfully over the last 10 years.
Presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
The playoffs are in full swing, and Electronic Express is bringing you show-stopping deals. Come into any of our convenient locations and save big on 4K TVs from your favorite brands like Samsung, LG, Sony, TCL, Hisense, and more. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department. 4K TVs, computers, appliances, housewares, gaming, and more. Save up to 40% with up to 36 months free financing. Get big game ready in-store or online at electronicexpress.com. Electronic Express, we make it happen.
Hi guys, it's Mark. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction? Did you know that a major medical breakthrough is now available and it isn't a pill? Today, Wednesday, January 25th, we're running a one-day special you won't want to miss out on. Hillside Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy. This is a technology clinically shown to repair blood vessels and improve blood flow. It's backed by 60 clinical studies, including from Cambridge. If you're ready to regain the spark in your bedroom, today is your day. Call us now and you'll qualify for the assessment and ultrasound totally free. You'll also get a gift that can produce rapid and powerful results in the bedroom in minutes. You're going to love that one, guys. Trust me. And today only, we're offering 6 tune-up treatments to our patients free. This is an unprecedented offer worth hundreds of dollars, but call today and qualify totally free. Call 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your life back. Call Hillside Medical Clinic now to qualify. This offer ends today, Wednesday, 615-576-5000.
You've got advanced prostate cancer, but you're not waiting around. You want straight talk, the facts about Orgovix.
Orgovix Relagolix 120 milligram prescription tablets is a treatment for adults with advanced prostate cancer. Fact: Orgovix is a different kind of androgen deprivation therapy treatment, a pill, not an injection. Orgovix may cause serious side effects, including a heart condition called QT prolongation. Tell your doctor right away if you feel dizzy, faint, have a racing or pounding heart, or chest pain. Orgovix can cause harm to an unborn baby or miscarriage. Use birth control during treatment and for 2 weeks after Orgovix treatment. The most common side effects include hot flushes, increased blood sugar and blood fat levels, muscle and joint pain, decreased blood hemoglobin levels, increased liver enzymes, tiredness, constipation, and diarrhea. Other side effects include weight gain, decreased sex drive, and erectile function problems. Orgovix may cause infertility. Talk to your doctor if infertility is a concern for you.
Go with Orgovix. Ask your doctor. For more facts, visit gowiththefacts.com.
We're Cromwell Media, and if you work here, you're family, and that means a lot.
Dagwood has been our morning host on 1029 The Buzz for 24 years. For Christy Maffett on our sales team, that means 23 years of service. Haley St. John, also an on-air talent on 1029 The Buzz, is celebrating 10 years. Shannon Sanders, the architect behind 1021 The Ville, joined our team 5 years ago. Charlotte Simmons, who works on our corporate team, has been with us for 3 years. Want to be part of our amazing Cromwell family? Contact us at together@cromwellmedia.com.
Want to see our smiling faces? You can watch us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live.
We are good to go.
Presented by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Strong opinions and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman and Company, presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
So with that being said, you recruited these guys, coached these guys. If the Titans were to look at the QB market in the draft, and I think they will look, Bobby, what do you think of them?
I think to go first round 11 pick, you got to be surefire. I keep hearing if he develops, if he does this. I think maybe I'm looking at it a little bit differently. All those guys that you just mentioned, all the guys who are projected first-round picks do have high ceilings. I mean, they have ceilings that are high. There's no doubt. But I have concerns at where their floor is. And there's too many examples of guys who haven't made it. Zach Wilson most recently. And maybe the jury's still out. Maybe he does need something. They better do their homework. And if they fall in love with someone, take them.
That was Coach Bob Shoop yesterday saying if they fall in love with somebody, they should take them with the 11th overall pick. But that's a pretty big if. And again, my scouts don't really like this quarterback class that much. Coach Shoop and Trevor Maddich going over each guy that could be a possible first-round selection. By the way, Brock Purdy in San Francisco is about to do something if they win on Sunday that no rookie has ever done, which is lead a team to the Super Bowl. Now, Ben Roethlisberger had one loss as a starter as a rookie, I believe, in 2004, and they were the number 1 seed, and then Brady in New England came into Pittsburgh and beat the crap out of them, which included an interception return from Rodney Harrison, in which Mike Vrabel basically jumped on Ben Roethlisberger's chest. So, I mean, that is the closest I believe a rookie has gotten to winning the Super Bowl, which was the conference championship game. So Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, is leading the 49ers. Bruce Feldman had a great piece at The Athletic in which he talked to one NFL coach who in his scouting report listed Brock Purdy with 2 words in the final grade: no interest. And the coach went over that scouting report and what he saw from Purdy and what he's seen from Purdy now and said, look, we probably undervalued the mental side of it from Purdy. We probably also undervalued his athleticism a little bit because his combine testing wasn't very good, but on the field he has that. But here's the quote that I think is really important, says the coach. Quote, what I think is making him successful is he is processing a lot of information pre-snap because they do a lot of motion shifts, kills, and alerts in that offense. It can be hard to just snap the ball and you know which way to hand the ball off. His composure late in the down, he has not made very many boneheaded mistakes. He did have one on Sunday when he threw the ball away and almost into the half, and you could see Kyle Shanahan MFing him under the call sheet for a good 10 seconds. But those plays have not shown up a lot. He talked about the rest of the league. Quote, in San Francisco, he can operate play action and boot and screen and manage the game. It's not like he's playing a system like Buffalo where the Bills are relying on Josh Allen sitting back and just hucking the ball all over the field. It's like, good Lord, how are you making those throws? And I think we can agree that when Josh Allen is at his best, they are throws that he makes that are, good Lord, how are you making those throws? But this is the most important part for me when talking about San Francisco and what they ask of the quarterback to do. And he said, they've got the best left tackle in the NFL. They've got 2 receivers. They've got probably the second best tight end. They do not ask the quarterback to win them the game. They just went out and got a top 5 running back. He's got the best coach. So if you're the Titans, and this is what Rand Carthon has to understand, and I'm sure he does, if you're the Titans and you decide that you want to go up and you want to anoint one of these quarterbacks as the guy, and you want to use Brock Purdy as the standard, and you want to say, hey, look what Brock Purdy's doing in San Francisco, then you better go get a better offensive coordinator than you had last year. Because the difference between Kyle Shanahan and Todd Downing is literally night and day. Then you better figure out, and again, you can't use your first-round pick on a wide receiver because you're using it on a quarterback. You better figure out how you're going to go get an all-pro left tackle because that's what San Francisco has. You have to add another wide receiver who, unlike Robert Woods, actually catches the ball and is actually good to go along with Treylon Burks. You need to get a tight end because right now you don't have a starting tight end on your roster. And you'll probably need another offensive lineman. And then maybe your rookie quarterback could be Brock Purdy because your defense is pretty good. It's not San Francisco good, but it's probably good enough. That's what it takes in order to win with a rookie quarterback. So when I see people in our phone, 615-737-1025 or driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com, when I see somebody texting the text line who says, Jared, you are now on the Tannehill bandwagon. Do you really feel he can lead the Titans to an AFC championship? I don't, and it's time to cut, trade, or draft for a franchise quarterback either this year or next year. The team has 3 years to build the team into a new stadium. That comes from Scott in Evansville, wherever that is. Shout out to Evansville. But when I hear things like that are, Jared, it's time to go find the franchise quarterback, I'm like, you're going to lose a lot of games if you do that. And considering that the general manager said at the press conference on Friday he expects to win right away, the owner told Mike Keith over the weekend that she's talking Lombardi Trophy next year or the year after that, and that Mike Vrabel doesn't take losing well, nor would he be okay with it, nor would he keep his job if they do lose. It's not going to happen. You do not have the infrastructure that San Francisco has. This is why every time Garoppolo's name comes up, I roll my eyes because I think Jimmy G sucks. I don't think Jimmy G is an average quarterback. I don't think Jimmy G he got him to the Super Bowl, so he must be good. I think Jimmy G sucks. Like, I think he's awful. And if he were to go to the Raiders, I think he'd be terrible. And Josh McDaniels will get fired. I'm telling you, I do not. Because San Francisco has everything. They have the best infrastructure. They have the best offensive coach in the league. They've got a great running back. They've got a great tight end. Did you see the concentration George Kittle had on that catch the other night? They have the best left tackle in the NFL. They've got 2 all-world receivers. They have everything. They've got a great defense. Their middle linebacker, Fred Warner, covered a number 1 receiver, C.D. Lamb, in the slot. So if you want to model yourself after the 49ers, well, you got Derrick Henry. So now you need a franchise left tackle, a legit number 1 tight end, a high-end number 1 tight end, another receiver to go along with Burks, and you need to improve the defense. And you need to get a good coordinator, not a good coordinator, a great coordinator if you want to be the 49ers. Brock Purdy has done a great job, and he's got that oomph in him. Just like Joe Burrow's got it. The difference is Joe Burrow can carry the entire organization himself. Brock Purdy can't. And no rookie quarterback can. So, I hate to say this, but, I mean, the idea of, I hear D. May say this all the time about they got to go get the rookie quarterback. Unless there's a dude out there that's going to be Joe Burrow, and Joe Burrow didn't win as a rookie. Patrick Mahomes didn't play as a rookie. Josh Allen was 6-10 as a rookie. Unless the Titans are okay with losing, or the Titans in one offseason figure out how to turn themselves into the 49ers, where they're good at every offensive position that they can put Jimmy G in there and be successful. Unless that's the case, it's not going to happen. So stop dreaming it. Stop pretending that it's real, because it's not. You have to be realistic. You can't throw a rookie quarterback into this and expect to win. You know, the Steelers, they had a winning season, which is kind of shocking because they lost so many games early on. But the Steelers did not have aspirations of making the playoffs this year. I know they probably said they did, but did you notice they didn't fire their staff after not making the playoffs because they knew with a rookie quarterback what that would mean. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We will get back into your calls, but I do have a thought on last night's Preds game, which was good, and something David Poyle said yesterday on the morning show that was very, very bad. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Speaking of the Predators, let me tell all the fine folks out there about Smashville Live. That's right. Smashville Live tonight at 6 o'clock. You should be sure to check it out at Brewhouse South in Cool Springs, and you can see your star Predators players up close and personal and get autographs and pictures. The Preds players tonight will be Nino Niederreiter and Ryan McDonough. Smashville Live is brought to you by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, Little Harpeth Beer, and Superbook Sports.
Want a chance to win tickets to an upcoming Preds game?
Yes.
Tune in to Robbie and Rexroad every weekday Preds game day at 8:45 for Preds Pick to Click. Guess a goal scorer and win.
I'll take Roman Yossi.
Matt Duchene.
Pick to Click is brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Visit tjandersonhomes.com to see why they are referred so often. And by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today.
Preds Pick to Click.
We are 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
At Genesis Diamonds, it's not just a new year. It's a new opportunity to bring you more choices, more value, more ways to celebrate your love. So we've expanded our selection of exquisite hand-picked diamonds from a ½ carat to 15 carats, all shapes, all sizes, all at our famous no middleman prices. This year especially, we know price matters, and we're committed to delivering the best value every day. We've also brought in even more exclusive designer jewelry, new cutting-edge fashion-forward rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, pendants, things you can't find anywhere else. And of course, Genesis is proud to offer a truly spectacular collection of luxury pre-owned Rolex timepieces. We have all the most popular models in stock with no wait list and no restrictions. Is this the year you reward yourself with a premier name and timepieces? Come to Genesis in 2023 and let our non-commissioned experts help you celebrate those important milestones. We guarantee the best value, the highest quality, and the strongest warranties and guarantees in the jewelry industry. Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes.
Built upon a solid foundation of cast iron and steel, the Kubota LO1 series is part of our under 100 horsepower tractor lineup rated #1 for reliability. They feature powerful Kubota diesel engines and easy operation. The durable Kubota LO1 series. Talk to your local Kubota dealer today to schedule a demo. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Visit Coleman Tractor Company, your local Kubota dealer in Clarksville, Nashville, Paris, and White House today.
Want to kick off the new year without any credit card debt? If that sounds good to you, you can do it with Loan Pronto's Express Equity line of credit. Wipe out all those credit card bills right now. Hey, Willie Donick here. Rates are down, and it's a great move to get on more solid financial footing for the new year. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a portion of the equity you have and enjoy a rate that's a whole lot less than what the banks charge on credit cards. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity credit line, you can close in 7 to 10 days. You can access up to 95% of your home's equity. Use that money to pay off those high-interest credit card loans of any type. Credit cards, personal loans, car loans, whatever. Consolidate everything into one easy payment. Even if you did a whole total refi last year, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program and keep your main loan intact. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Social Furniture's tax refund sale is going on now. You will save up to 50% at every department. Huge markdowns. You don't want to miss this opportunity to make your home spectacular. We have everything for your home in stock with no waiting. And hassle-free same-day delivery makes it easy. Pay no money down and pay no interest for 1 full year during Social Furniture's tax refund sale. Don't wait. Come in today. Social Furniture on Charlotte Avenue in the Richland Creek Shopping Center. And save, save, save.
On Thursday's edition of Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace, we'll be broadcasting from Pete and Terry's Tavern, Elliott Freeman at 1 p.m., more Titans future decisions on Ryan Tannehill, the first order of business for Titans' new GM, Rand Carthon, and more. The party gets started at 11 a.m. on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Hey, this is Jordan Rogers, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 The Game.
Comes back out, top of the left circle. The shot goes wide. Wraparound try, and the score! Tanner Janot puts the Predators in front, 2-1. Wrapping around with the rebound on Connor Hellebuck.
Really good back-to-back games for us, and pretty thorough team efforts, and that's something that we had. You know, we have talked a lot about the word consistency, and I think we played the last 2 games the way that I think our team is capable of playing. And it's nice to see, what our group looks like when we're playing the game the right way. And, we got another big one coming up. So, I think it's important for us to be able to stay with it. We're in, a position where we're continuing to, to fight for wins and move up in the standings. And I think if we bring us, continue to build on what we've built the last 2 games, we'll give ourselves a really good chance on Thursday.
There you go, John Hines, Predators coach. Predators win 2 in a row, including the one last night. And I do want to give credit where credit is due. As I said, as I teased this segment, I told you all a win that was very, very good and something David Poile said that was very, very bad. So let's start with the good, which was the win last night. Normally when the Predators win these games against good teams 2-1, there's always a yeah, but. Like, yeah, but they got outshot by 42, like when they played Carolina a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, but it was fluky. They played some bum backup goalie who should be in the AHL, or they got spotted 2 goals like they did Saturday. Yeah, but. But there was no yeah, but here. They outshot Winnipeg. Winnipeg played most of their big-time players. Kyle Connor was in there. Blake Wheeler was in there. All those guys that used to terrorize the Predators when the Predators were good. They had their starting goalie in there, Connor Hellebuck. I mean, Saros played well. Saros has to play well every night, but I didn't feel like he stole the game last night. I mean, the Predators actually played a decent game. Now, they allowed a goal 5 seconds into the game, which I don't understand. But other than that, they were pretty good. Probably committed too many penalties, which I don't like. And again, they commit stupid penalties. But that being said, they found a way to win a game that they had to win if they were going to keep trying to sell us the notion that they can compete for the playoffs. What has happened with the Predators, and I said this after the Colorado series, I said they have to fire David Poile and John Hines. They really don't have a choice, because if they don't, they're going to lose the fans. And I said that as not really a warning, but more so just a promise, as this is what's going to happen. What has happened this season is it has really become the people versus the Nashville Predators. Like the city of Nashville versus the Nashville Predators. Like it's a lawsuit or something. And it's the city saying, guys, we don't believe your team is a competitor. We don't even really think you're close to being a competitor. We don't think your general manager has a clue. Your coach has never won anything. And all the players that you prop up as good players really aren't that good. And it's the Predators on the other side of it saying, no, trust us. Cody Glass is going to become a good player. We promise. We promise. Congratulations to Cody Glass yesterday. Your first-line center just scored his 6th goal of the season. Very, very nice. And so they're going to have to win a lot of these games in order to get people to believe that they can actually compete. Again, they've been saying it all year. Roman Josi said right before the start of the season on this show, they were trying to win the cup. Now, again, in the lawsuit, the people of Nashville are alleging that this team has no chance to do that. And that team's defense is, we promise we've got a shot. We're going to have to win more games like that against those kind of teams. But the Predators did it, and it wasn't fluky. It wasn't a yeah, but. It wasn't the Predators put up 19 shots, the other team put up 53, and they won the game. Nope. They outshot Winnipeg. It was actually a decent game last night. So I'm going to give them that credit. Now the really bad thing David Poile said. Sometimes I don't know if David Poile just outright lies like he admitted to during the Forsberg negotiations, or if he doesn't know better. But he said something about Matt Duchene yesterday on the morning show that absolutely set me off. And it was, again, I got no beef with Duchene, but he is what he is. And this is what David Poile said.
I think one of the important things is for managers or coaches that you set the expectations correctly and that you don't put somebody in a position where they can't do it. For Duchene, I think he's a goal scorer. I think he's an elite goal scorer. I really like it when he's getting lots of shots on net. I want him to be selfish because he can score. I'd rather he doesn't pass. I'd like goals. So I am optimistic based on the meeting, the time of the year, that this is going to be our best hockey.
Okay, David Poile says, I think as a manager, it's fair to set expectations, but they have to be reachable expectations. I think Matt Duchene is an elite goal scorer. How many years have we been doing this with Duchene? What is this for Duchene, Ian? Is this year 4 or 5?
With the Preds, I want to say 4.
Year 4. How long have we been doing this pony show for? Matt Duchene is not an elite goal scorer. Over his tenure with the Predators, I calculated this. This was as of last night, so the number maybe went down by like a percentage because they played one game and he didn't score in it. But over 82 games, Matt Duchene averages 27.5 goals a season, which is not awful, but it is not elite. And that includes the 143-goal season that he had last year. And again, this is not, I did not do the numbers by, divided by 4 seasons. No, I took the games divided by 82. Matt Duchene averages 27.5 goals per season. He currently has 13. In the NHL right now, halfway through the season, his 27.5 goals would be good enough to make him the 11th best goal scorer in the league today. So there are guys, we're talking about elite goal scorers, that through 49, 46, 45, through 47 games have more goals than Matt Duchene averages over 82. Guys like Mikko Rantanen, Alexander Ovechkin, David Pasternak. Obviously, Connor McDavid's already got 40 goals in 48 games. That is elite goal scoring. So I don't know what David's trying to say here, but it's one of two things. Either David is just outright lying to all of us about Matt Duchene being an elite goal scorer, or he actually believes it. And he is just sitting there at his house just waiting for Matt Duchene to get good. I hear this all the time from everybody associated with the team. That is, if they could just get Johansson going, if they could just get Duchene going. How long do we have to wait for you guys to realize that they ain't that good? You do know that you guys made your elite goal scorer, Matt Duchene, available to Seattle. Seattle, take him. It's like the scene in Oliver where the guy's outside, boy for sale, take him. And $8 million is a great deal for an elite goal scorer. David Pasternak has a new deal coming up with Boston. He's going to get 8 years at 12 minimum. So it's a great deal if he's an elite scorer. Seattle didn't want him because he's not good. Seattle is telling you he's not good. We don't want him. We don't want him for free. We're not interested. No, thank you. Think about that. So David Poyle is selling us that I believe Matt Duchene's an elite goal scorer. Why? He averages 27.5 goals a season. That's not elite. That's Craig Smith. When you signed him and you had a press conference with the mayor, we were not promised Craig Smith. And now you're telling us, I really believe he's an elite goal scorer. It's 4 years. 4 years. Right now, Matt Duchene, where he currently sits, and again, I'm not knocking on Duchene because I think Duchene is what he is. This is what he was when you signed him. Adam Vingan told you his career is not that of a big boy forward. But David just was obsessed with him and couldn't let it go. And so David went all in. Matt Duchene is currently tied for 105th in the NHL in goals scored. 105th. And David is going to tell me he's an elite goal scorer 4 years after David signed him, and you haven't won one playoff series with him. He's not an elite goal scorer. He never was, and he never will be. James Neal scored 40 goals in a season. Nobody ever considered him Wayne Gretzky. So let's be real here. Either David is not telling the truth, or David's evaluation is so bad that he's out there in La La Land. It's one of the two. And almost everywhere else, instead of teams sitting around just waiting like a child for Santa to come down the chimney just waiting on Johansson and waiting on Duchesne and waiting on all these guys who haven't been living up to their contracts for years, what would happen is the owners would fire the guys that signed them to those contracts. So when I heard that yesterday, David's like, I think the manager's job is to set fair standards, and I think Matt Duchesne's an elite goal scorer. I'm like, get a clue. Look at the rest of the league. He's a 27.5 per year goal scorer. That's not elite. And the fact that you thought he was elite for so long and spent so much time trying to get him, and then you got him and you realized that he wasn't elite, and now you're waiting for him to become elite, is incredibly disconcerting. And the fact that the one season where he actually played to a decent level, you didn't win anything anyways, you didn't even win a playoff game, tells me that even if that happens, you won't be very good. And that's the problem. That is why people don't believe in David Poile anymore. Because too many times he has sold the fans a bill of goods and has not delivered. Remember when Eeli Tolvanen was supposed to come in right away after the Olympics in 2018 and he was going to hop right into the top 6? What happened with that? Remember how all these guys they traded for? Oh, you guys watch. Ryan Hartman, Wayne Simmons, you guys watch. They're going to fix this. Remember the coach he hired who had no resume? And when I had the audacity to ask if New Jersey liked him so much, why'd they fire him? And everybody got mad at me? And the coach still hasn't won anything? People aren't buying it anymore. He just goes on the radio and calls him an elite goal scorer. What? 27.5 goals per season over 82 games with the Predators. He ain't good enough. And I don't mean to knock Matt Duchesne because I'm not. I like Duchesne fine. I think Duchesne tries hard. I think Duchesne's a good dude in the community. I don't think he's a bad teammate. I mean, I like Matt Duchesne fine. But don't come on the radio and say he's an elite goal scorer. He's not. He never was. And when you treated him like he was, you set the expectations too high. And because this is the only ownership in pro sports that will not fire you for failing to meet expectations consistently, you go on and say things like this. What? So congratulations on the win last night, because that was the kind of win they're going to need to have. But don't be spewing this stuff, David. We've been hearing it too long. Oh, if we can just get Johansson going. How long have we heard that for? If we can just get Duchesne going. 4 years on Duchesne. I mean, my God. 105th in the league in goal scoring, and you call him an elite goal scorer. It's ridiculous. You don't have to lie about that. 615-737-1025. We'll get back to your phones. I had to get that off my chest when I heard elite goal scorer yesterday. Are we serious? Elite goal scorer. Yeah, elite goal scorers don't get taken in expansion drafts. 615-737-1025. We're back to your phones next. Let me tell you about the FanDuel Sportsbook app. You talk about not promising and failing to deliver. The FanDuel Sportsbook app is the opposite. The NFL Conference Championships are on Sunday, and you can enjoy more thrills than a 2-minute drill on FanDuel. It doesn't matter if you're new to FanDuel or if you already have an account, because they're giving all customers a no-sweat same-game parlay. That means you get free bets back if your conference championship same-game parlay does not hit. Bet on everything from the money line to point spreads to which player will score a touchdown. Or, if you can't decide, you can ride with thousands of other fans and bet on popular SGPs already made for you. If you're new to FanDuel, sign up with the promo code JGM to see for yourself why it's America's #1 sportsbook. And if you already have FanDuel, you can start building your no-sweat same-game parlay today. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. 3+ legs, minimum $1 bet required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max bonus is $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions do apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Hey, Middle Tennessee, it's trivia time. You think you're pretty smart? Well, come on out Wednesday, February 1st to Boom Ba's East and test your trivia skills. Featuring Willie Donick as Trivia Master, all proceeds support STARS and the hope, health, and connection of young people in our community. Register your team of no more than 4 and let the competition begin. Go to starsnashville.org to officially sign up. That's starsnashville.org. See you February 1st at Boomba's East.
Attention all fire and safety line experts. Middle Tennessee's fastest growing fire protection company is looking for experienced service technicians, designers, and sprinkler system experts like you. Tired of working for a large corporate employer? Work for a company where you're more than just a number. Jarrett Fire Protection is owned and operated by Nashville natives and wants to invite you to grow with their amazing team.
Hi, I'm Jason Jarrett, owner of Jarrett Companies. I'm looking to hire experienced sprinkler experts and will offer a sign-on bonus of up to $5,000 for certified professionals. In addition to our great benefits that include a 401k match, PTO, and top pay with annual bonuses, we will also provide you with the top-of-the-line tools, trucks, and equipment that you need to grow your career. Our customer base is large and business is booming with many opportunities for advancement. Give us a call or go online to jarrettfire.com and apply today to become a member of our family and protect our community. That's JARRETT fire.com. Jarrett Companies, where we are above and beyond industry standards.
Now is a fantastic time to sell in Nashville, but you can't do it without the intel. And no one has better intel than the Gary Ashton team. You may be wondering, what is this intel I keep hearing about? Intel so you can sell your home without any staging or showings. Intel on where to find your next home so you can sell your current one while the market's hot. Intel that helps you win the buyer battle and cash in on your home equity now. Everyone else is getting the same information and competing for the same properties. GaryAshton.com gives you the edge with the best real estate intel in Nashville. No one else even comes close. Plus, the Gary Ashton team is the official real estate agent for the Preds. Get the confidence to sell your home and find your dream address without the stress. Call the Gary Ashton team with RE/MAX Advantage today at 615-301-1650 or visit GaryAshton.com. And remember, don't sell without the intel.
The sports talk doesn't end on Friday. Join Michelle Knezovic and Junie Riddle for Michelle and Junie.
Have they truly been tested yet?
I really want this to be a good game. Michelle and Junie, every Saturday morning at 9. Presented by Superbook Sports and the Nashville Jam Company.
I think Junie and I are going to go hit breakfast/brunch there after the show. On
102.5 and 106.3, The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company. Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3, The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Our best players have to be our best players, and I think they're certainly, after that meeting, they're willing to take this responsibility on, and let's see what happens. I mean, we have, as we said, we have 2 more games. We've got Winnipeg tonight in New Jersey. Winnipeg's a top team in our conference. Basically, I think New Jersey's got the 3rd best overall record in the National Hockey League. So we've got 2 of the best teams in here tonight and Thursday, and how we do in those 2 games is going to go a long way to, our consistency, our confidence, and whether we're going to be really push here for the playoffs.
There you go. That was David Boyle yesterday, and they did win last night against Winnipeg, and it was not fluky fashion, which unfortunately we've seen, a couple times they win a fluky game. And I see, Jared, they're right there. We'll get to your phones as promised. It should be noted that all the talk about the best players need to be the best players and everybody on the team deflecting the attention from the coach for that is why they fired the last coach. So we need to keep that in mind. Nate texts into the text line and says, David Poile waiting on Matt Duchene to be an elite goal scorer is like waiting on Ryan Tannehill to take the Titans to the Super Bowl. You can talk about it all day, but it's not going to happen. I think that they're different, though. If you put the perfect team around Tannehill, and that includes the offensive coordinator, which I think we can all agree was terrible. I mean, Ryan Tannehill could manage the game. If you made Ryan Tannehill the quarterback of the 49ers, they could get to the Super Bowl. I'm convinced of it. With elite offensive coaching, great running back, 2 receivers, tight end, left tackle, great defense. Tannehill could go to the Super Bowl. Matt Duchene is not an elite goal scorer. He never was, and he's never going to be. Right now, Connor McDavid has 40 goals. He's on pace for something like 74 goals. That is an elite goal scorer. David Pastrnak scores 40 goals every season in Boston. That is an elite goal scorer. Everybody in the league is tanking because they want to get Connor Bedard because he's supposed to be an elite goal scorer. Matt Duchene's not that. With the Predators, over 82 games in a season, Matt Duchene averages 27.5 goals. I mean, the problem here, and this is where how I think most people feel about this. The problem is, look at the St. Louis Blues. The St. Louis Blues smoked the Predators last Thursday night, and they're not very good, and they've been dealing with a lot of injuries, and the St. Louis Blues won a cup in 2019. The Blues could talk themselves into, when Ryan O'Reilly comes back and is healthy, when Vladimir Tarasenko comes back, if Jordan Bennington finds his form, we could compete. Just like we were the worst team at the beginning of the 2019 season and we won the cup. They could talk themselves into that. They're not. Listen to Elliot Friedman when he's on the midday show. He tells you St. Louis is gunning for the trade deadline. They are going to trade Tarasenko. They are going to trade Ryan O'Reilly. They are going to trade they are selling. And they are in the same spot that you are in. Only their coach and their team has a Stanley Cup under their belts. You don't. Your coach hasn't won a playoff series. But yet St. Louis can look in the mirror and they can say, we got no shot here. Even if we make the playoffs, we'll get dumped in the first round by a team that has much better goaltending, by a team that is much more top heavy or is, got 3 good lines with a 4th checking line, those kind of things that are real cup contenders. And so they'll say, no, it's not going to happen. The Predators cannot do that. Adam Vingan said on Friday, Adam Vingan was talking about how Preds fans feel. And Adam Vingan said that he thinks a lot of fans want the team to lose because the Predators cannot look in the mirror and they cannot see reality. And when you say things like David Poile and you say Matt Duchene is an elite goal scorer or you think Matt Duchene's an elite goal scorer, that would be like me saying Nick Westbrook-Akine is a legit number 1 receiver. No, he is not. He's not. Justin said, Jared, we are both fans of this team, and we care about this team. What is the reason for us not having elite players and the other teams having guys perform at that level? And I will say this, because a lot of people, whenever it comes to Hines, I think John Hines should be fired. I mean, I don't think that he should be fired after they won yesterday. Like, I don't think that they should call a press conference today and fire him. But I think the results of the season earn him a firing. On Friday, his win percentage was .533. They fired Laviolette when he was .540-something. And Laviolette had done nothing but win as the coach of the Predators. The worst finishes that Laviolette had as the coach of the Predators equal the best finish, a 6-game round 1 exit, that John Hines has had since he's been the coach. Hines is a bad coach. There's no way around it. His resume is what he is, which is not good. And we kind of were worried about that when they hired him, and they promised us that that wasn't the case, but they also promised us that Matt Duchene was an elite goal scorer, and he's not. So it is what it is. If you were to bring another coach in here, and it doesn't even have to be like a full-time coach, if you were to promote Carl Taylor from Milwaukee, I think you would have a better team overnight. Because Hines just isn't a good coach. Proof's in the pudding. So I think overnight you'd have a better team by firing the coach. But just because the larger issues are the long-term contracts that David Poile has doled out, where he's given into career years every time. Forsberg, career year, gets a new contract. Duchene, career year in Columbus, gets a new contract with the Predators, gets a contract. Granlund plays the best he's ever been since he was here. He got a new contract. So the fact that David Poile has locked this team into a bunch of long-term contracts based upon career years is an issue. And it is the issue. The fact that he hasn't drafted very well. And that's why Ellie Tolvanen is on Seattle for nothing in exchange. That's why Philip Tomasino is in the minors. Because Poile can't draft. And he can't trade like he's trading for Ryan Hartman or he's trading a second-round pick for Jeremy Lozon. I mean, it's ridiculous. That's the chief problem. But Hines is a bad coach, too. So that's why other teams take your guys like Ellie Tolvanen and Kevin Fiala, and they play much better than the guys you have now. Because you can't scout, you can't draft, You can't develop, and you can't coach, and you can't trade. And that's why you are where you are. Now, somehow you've got great goaltending. And because of your great goaltending, you will be in there, and you will be in the mix for the playoffs. I do not think this team's going to make the playoffs this year. I mean, I know a lot of people are hoping for that. I just don't think it's going to happen. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. I get inundated with texts about, why do you always talk about Tom Brady to the Titans? It's not going to happen, Jared. Well, that's not what somebody close to Tom is saying. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Speaking of the Predators, let me tell you that you can hang out tomorrow night before the Predators game at the Superbook Lounge and Landshark Bar and Grill, Margaritaville on Broadway with 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Place your bets with Superbook and enjoy great food and drink specials. Plus, enter for a chance to win a pair of tickets to an upcoming Preds home game.
You watch the game.
Haskins again doesn't get it. Jaguars have won the AFC South.
We talk the game.
The offensive side of the football for the Titans, who should be back next season.
We are the game. Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Hi guys, it's Mark. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction? Did you know that a major medical breakthrough is now available and it isn't a pill? Today, Wednesday, January 25th, we're running a one-day special you won't want to miss out on. Hillside Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy. This is a technology clinically shown to repair blood vessels and improve blood flow. It's backed by 60 clinical studies, including from Cambridge. If you're ready to regain the spark in your bedroom, today is your day. Call us now and you'll qualify for the assessment and ultrasound totally free. You'll also get a gift that can produce rapid and powerful results in the bedroom in minutes. You're going to love that one, guys. Trust me. And today only, we're offering 6 tune-up treatments to our patients free. This is an unprecedented offer worth hundreds of dollars, but call today and qualify totally free. Call 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your life back. Call Hillside Medical Clinic now to qualify. This offer ends today, Wednesday, 615-576-5000.
Join the Nashville Chamber of Commerce for YP Nashville Connect 2023. This Thursday, YP Connect will be in the East Club and Nissan Stadium. This after-hours trade show style event connects young professionals to community impact opportunities with YP Nashville member organizations. As the largest gathering of young professionals in Nashville, YP Connect is a great way to get you plugged into Nashville's expansive young professional community. Register online for the next event at NashvilleChamber.com. That's NashvilleChamber.com.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Your Game Center Update.
This Game Center Update is brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. The Nashville Predators have now won 2 straight games after a 2-1 victory over the Winnipeg Jets last night. Preds head coach John Hines after the game.
We have talked a lot about the word consistency, and I think, we played the last 2 games the way that I think our team is capable of playing. And it's nice to see, what our group looks like when we're playing the game the right way. And, we got another big one coming up, so I think it's important for us to be able to stay with it.
The Preds have one more game tomorrow night versus New Jersey before the All-Star break. Don't miss tonight's latest edition of Smashville Live Players Show, live from Brewhouse South in Cool Springs. Host Darren McFarland and Hal Gill will be joined by Preds players Nino Niederreiter and Ryan McDonough. In NFL playoff news, Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes says he's ready to go for the AFC title game versus the Bengals this Sunday. And after the Tennessee Vols announced a contract extension through January 2029 for head football coach Josh Heupel yesterday, athletic director Danny White was given a contract extension today as well. This update is brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. I'm Ian Safar for 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Broadcasting on Alexa.
I appreciate that.
And other smart speakers. 1025 and 1063.
1, 2, 3. I think it was a good game. Had a couple of big plays.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Where you have a voice.
He had a competent coaching staff. You just play terrible and you keep playing.
And we have strong opinions.
What a whiny freaking crybaby response.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 1025 1063 The Game. Streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to Superbook Sports Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. So I get inundated with text messages whenever I talk about Tom Brady and the Titans of all these people that are like, Jared, why do you talk about this Tom Brady to the Titans? It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. Remember that nobody was speculating in 2020 that Tom Brady would go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. In fact, when we would talk about Brady and Tannehill and who should they pick and things like that, we were told then, he's not going to leave New England. He's not going anywhere. Now, Ian, you are familiar with the Patriots Brotherhood, are you not?
Correct. Yes, I am aware of this term.
So we got to view the Patriots Brotherhood on a first-hand basis for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Because Floyd was part of the Brotherhood.
Correct.
And the rule is, if you're part of the Brotherhood, is that you are not allowed to ever say anything bad about anybody in New England that you were with or that you know or anything like that. That's the Brotherhood. I don't want to say the Brotherhood is all positivity all the time, but the Brotherhood is, hey, you take care of each other.
At least publicly.
Publicly, you take care of each other. I remember one time when the Titans were getting ready to play the Patriots in a playoff game, and we were talking about Brady's record versus Dick LeBeau, and it was horrible for Dick LeBeau. And Floyd was like, that's got to be the case with every defensive coordinator. And I was like, well, what about Dean Pease? And Floyd laughed and said, I worked with Dean Pease in New England when he got fired. You don't even know Dean Pease. Ha, ha, ha. 2 weeks later, Mike Vrabel hires Dean Pease, and Floyd's like, that's a great hire. I'm like, What? But that's the Brotherhood. But everybody that knows somebody from New England, they all have that Brotherhood within them. Devin McCourty is very much part of the Brotherhood. He was on NFL Game Day Morning, which is the NFL Network pregame show with Rich Eisen and Michael Irvin and Kurt Warner and that crew. And he was asked about what is Tom Brady going to do next. This is not some Joe Blow like Jared Stillman. This is Devin McCourty, a Patriot captain who is part of the Brotherhood, who has won 3 Super Bowls with Tom Brady. Here's what he said.
I think for Tom, it's figuring out, and he said that he's going to take time. What I want him to do, go back to New England. I'll go back, too, if he goes. But what I think he's going to do, he's going to keep playing. I think a team like the Titans, he has Vrabel down there, a guy he played with, not too far from his family being on the East Coast, different than going all the way out to Vegas. I know Josh McDaniels is there, but you go to Tennessee, great running back, good defense. They'll get some more weapons in there to throw the ball to. I can see Tom right there continuing this great career.
Devin McCourty, to me, red alert. Devin McCourty, a captain of the Patriots, part of the Patriot Brotherhood, says, I think Tom Brady's going to go to Tennessee. Vrabel's his guy. He's got Derrick Henry. They've got a decent defense. They'll figure out how to throw the ball. He says he thinks Brady should come here or is going to come here. Guess what? The Brady thing is real. I had Chris Sanders on earlier today. I asked him, did he think that Tannehill was going to come back? Because Chris is in favor of running it back with Tannehill. And I asked him, I said, do you think they're going to do that? I know what you want them to do, and I kind of want them to do the same thing. Though I would take Brady if I knew I could get Brady over Tannehill. But do you think they're going to do that? And Chris Sanders said, absolutely not, which is good because it makes me feel like I'm not the only person in the world who thought Rand Carthon's no comment on Tannehill was pretty glaring on Friday. So Chris doesn't think Tannehill's coming back either. Well, here are the only viable options for the Titans at the quarterback position this upcoming season. Look, I would love to have Joe Burrow on the Titans, but it is not a viable option. Here are what I believe are the 8 options. 1, Tannehill. But again, I don't think Tannehill's coming back. Chris doesn't think Tannehill's coming back. A lot of people don't think Tannehill's coming back, but he's on the list. 2, Brady. 3, Aaron Rodgers. And again, last year, it was all about, well, if Aaron leaves, would Aaron go here or would Aaron go there? And it wasn't until we reported that he was building a house in Williamson County that people started to think the Titans would be in play. I know that last year, when Aaron was considering leaving the Packers, he was open to joining the Titans. I don't know if he still is. I don't know. But he's on the list. Derek Carr. Yesterday, Trevor Maddich said that if it's not Tannehill, he would go with Carr, and I about threw up. The idea of Derek Carr being the Titans quarterback, no, 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 no. 5, Jimmy. That's even worse than Derek Carr. 6, Baker Mayfield. You think Baker and Vrabel are going to get along? 7, the draft. My scouts, Coach Bob Shoop, Trevor Maddich, they don't even think that this draft, that these guys are really all that good. They don't love any of them. And if you draft a guy, you're going to lose. And then the wild card would be Trey Lance. And I don't know if Trey Lance is any good, but Rand Carthon would know that. I don't know if Trey Lance is actually going to be available, but Rand Carthon would know that. So I don't have an opinion on Trey Lance. And while I am not somebody who usually is in the GM we trust, if Rand Carthon, who has infinitely more information to form a fair opinion about Trey Lance, decides that's the route he wants to go, then I'm willing to live with that because he has a lot more information than I do. But it's only going to be one of those 8 options. And so, to me, the only one that makes the most sense other than Tannehill is Brady. Think about what you'd have to give up to get Aaron Rodgers. You'd have to pay him $60 million. You'd have to probably give up, again, Peter King said, the Packers want 2 second-round picks. Everybody knows the Jets are rolling out the red carpet for Aaron Rodgers. So there'd be legit competition there with Brady. You just sign him. You don't owe anybody a draft pick if you sign Tom Brady. It's not going to cost you significantly more money. Brady's not going to come in here and want $40 million, which is going to have you spending $58 million at the quarterback position. Now, like he's done in Tampa Bay, once Brady's done with you, he's done, and he's not going to help out your cap. But again, I'm just trying to win right now. And Devin McCourty, part of the Patriot Brotherhood, says he thinks Brady's coming here. What I love is everybody that says things like, Tom Brady will get one look at that offensive line, and Tom Brady will say, I'm not coming. You're right. Tom Brady is not going to play with Dennis Daly as a starting left tackle. Mel Kiper Jr.'s first mock draft came out today. He's got Paris Johnson Jr., the left tackle at Ohio State, going to the Titans with the 11th overall pick in the draft. Just like Tampa Bay selected Tristan Wirfs in the first round of the 2020 draft. Because Tom wanted protection, so they found a way to get Tom a tackle. Rand Carthon knows his starting offensive line next year is not going to be Dennis Daly and Aaron Brewer. Now, you heard right there, Devin McCourty said, they'll get some guys that can throw him the ball. Somebody asked me today, they said, how do you attract a wide receiver on the free agent market? When you don't know who your coordinator is going to be, unless you get some sexy name to be the coordinator, or you don't have a great passing offense, and people don't view Tannehill as, somebody said to me, how do you get free agents to come here? I was like, well, Tom Brady will get free agents to come here.
Yeah, have Brady as your quarterback. That'll attract a few.
Yes, it will. And so I have said, if I owned the team, I would go to Rand Carthon, I'd go to Mike Vrabel, and I'd say, I want Tom Brady. And then I would need them to talk me out of Tom Brady. I know a lot of you all are more pro Tannehill than you are Brady, and that's fine. And I'm not against Tannehill coming back. I'm not. And if Brady doesn't want to come here, I've got Tannehill under contract. So I can work with that. But I'm with Chris. I don't think that Tannehill's coming back. And Brady has to play somewhere. And if Rick Stroud of the Tampa Bay Times is right, and he's not going out west because of his family, that takes out the Raiders. How many teams are on the eastern part of the United States that have a team that would check boxes for Brady? Titans, Jets, Falcons. Falcons, I don't know if Brady buys into that. Jets, sounds like they're rolling out the red carpet for Aaron Rodgers. That leaves you with one team. If he's going to quarterback, he's got a quarterback somewhere. And one of his guys, Devin McCourty, part of the Brotherhood, saying, I think he goes to Tennessee. Vrabel, Derrick Henry, that defense, they'll get him guys he can throw the ball to. 615-737-1025. I think this is one of those standby moments. When Devin McCourty on the pregame show on NFL Network says, I think Brady's coming to the Titans, that is a, hold up, timeout, stand by, red alert, everybody, because Devin McCourty is a captain of that brotherhood. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'll get your thoughts on that, 615-737-1025. Plus, the other option here is Aaron Rodgers. Now, I have my issues with Aaron Rodgers, but it does feel like one team has become another team from last year who had to learn their lesson the hard way. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Every Wednesday at 8:30. Join Robbie and Rexroad for The Choice is Yours.
2 sports questions, 2 non-sports questions.
They'll answer a couple of questions about life and sports. The Choice is Yours is built by Jarrett Companies. You have a choice. So when you have a need for site and utility work, fire protection, concrete and asphalt services, the choice is simple. It's Jarrett Companies. For more, visit JarrettCompaniesInc.com. The Choice is Yours. Wednesdays at 8:30 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
At Genesis Diamonds, it's not just a new year. It's a new opportunity to bring you more choices, more value, more ways to celebrate your love. So we've expanded our selection of exquisite hand-picked diamonds from a ½ carat to 15 carats, all shapes, all sizes, all at our famous no middleman prices. This year especially, we know price matters, and we're committed to delivering the best value every day. We've also brought in even more exclusive designer jewelry, new cutting-edge fashion-forward rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, pendants, things you can't find anywhere else. And of course, Genesis is proud to offer a truly spectacular collection of luxury pre-owned Rolex timepieces. We have all the most popular models in stock with no wait list and no restrictions. Is this the year you reward yourself with a premier name and timepieces? Come to Genesis in 2023 and let our non-commissioned experts help you celebrate those important milestones. We guarantee the best value, the highest quality, and the strongest warranties and guarantees in the jewelry industry. Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes.
Bob's Steak and Chop House in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Hi, this is Chef Mark again from Bob's Steak and Chop House at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Come join us before any Preds game or concert at Bridgestone Arena. Enjoy one of our prime steaks. Why Bob's, you may ask? Because at Bob's, we not only serve prime beef, but the top 2% of prime beef in the world. Try our certified Japanese A5 or Australian tomahawks. So come see us at Omni before you go to any game and make sure to ask for Chef Mark. Let's go Preds!
Attending an event downtown? Dine at Bob's Steak and Chop House in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
You look at yourself in the mirror every day and you can't deny it anymore. Your hair is not as thick as it used to be, and it's making you feel self-conscious. Hair Club is here to save the day. For 45 years, Hair Club has helped more than 500,000 clients love their hair and feel confident again. No matter what stage of hair loss, they can help. Hair Club can customize a solution just for you. For a limited time, get 10% off when you book a free consultation today at hairclub.com/Chase.
Meet Joe A,
Hi.
Joe B,
Hello.
and Joe C.
What's up?
3 everyday Joes perfecting their banking with Chase. Joe A is locking his lost debit card with the Chase mobile app. Joe B is cruising toward his new ride with AutoSave. And Joe C's Chase banker is helping him budget to go back to school. Tools that help protect, support for what's next. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Messaging and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
The Hoop Collective Podcast.
I'm at our ESPN LA studios. You may remember that Bev did a couple of days of work for ESPN last year.
No, I remember. I was on with him.
He left a gorgeous Dolce & Gabbana suit here that is just spectacular.
You should wear it on TV today, Brian.
I do not believe it will fit me, only because the arms are too long. You're across the street. Come over and get it. It's got to be at least a $7,000 suit.
The Hoop Collective Podcast. Listen on the ESPN app or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Anyone want to tell me what happened?
Did you miss any of today's show?
It's okay. It's fine. Don't worry.
Subscribe to the Stillman and Company podcast on Apple, Spotify, and other podcast platforms, or by going to theGameNashville.com.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
Strong opinions and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman and Company, presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
I like the thought of him in the New York Jets uniform. You know why? Because I like what Douglas and Salah have put around the quarterback spot. Breece Hall coming back. 7 games he played last year, he averaged 5.8 yards a carry. We know this brother's a stud, and if he were healthy, it might have been a different outcome. The Jets might still be in the playoffs right now, okay? They might have made it to the playoffs. That's number one. Number two, Garrett Wilson is no scrub. Just like we look at Christian Watson in Green Bay and we like what we see from him, we've liked what we've seen from Garrett Wilson. And so when I'm looking at it from that perspective, along with Corey Davis and Conklin and others and what they bring to the table, and a defense that is real and big time, I think that, along with a New York market, and you'll like this part, Tucky, you'll like this part, a New York market that would hold Aaron Rodgers accountable far more than Green Bay, Wisconsin. If Aaron Rodgers went to the Jets, they could win it all. They could win it all.
Okay, Stephen A., I think that's a hot take, but make of that what you will. I believe this for the Titans. If they're moving off of Ryan Tannehill, which I believe, and Chris Sanders echoed those thoughts, I believe it's probably Brady or Rodgers for that spot. Now let's get to the Jets for a second, because the Jets are rolling out the red carpet for Aaron Rodgers. A couple weeks ago, their owner, Woody Johnson, came out and said that he'd be willing to pay whatever it takes to get a top-notch quarterback. And what that didn't mean is I'm willing to pay. That means I want to pay for a top-notch quarterback. You hear Stephen A. Smith talk about, I think they can win the Super Bowl with that team with Aaron Rodgers. Now, I was watching ESPN this morning. Greeny, diehard Jets fan, he's yelling and screaming and talking about, oh, if we got Aaron Rodgers, it'd be so great. And Damian Woody, former Jet, oh, Aaron, he'd be so great here. Oh, it'd be this. Do you remember the team that rolled out the red carpet for Aaron Rodgers last year? Ian, do you remember the team that rolled out the red carpet for Aaron Rodgers?
I believe we were thinking Denver.
Denver rolled out the red carpet for Aaron Rodgers. They went out and they hired his coach, Nathaniel Hackett. The only other guy they really interviewed for that job was Luke Getsy, who was the quarterback coach in Green Bay. They rolled out the red carpet. Please, Aaron, come to Denver. They waited and waited. We've got a great defense. We've got your coach as our head coach. We've got Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy. We've got Noah Fant at tight end. Please come to Denver, Aaron. They wanted to pay for a high-end quarterback. They'd do whatever it would take. And the day Aaron Rodgers decided he was going back to Green Bay, Seattle traded Russell Wilson to the Denver Broncos. And Denver tried to lie to everybody and say that Russell was their number one choice, but he wasn't. They were just so desperate. And what has happened to Denver since then? They don't have any picks because they used them all to get Russell. They had to trade away Bradley Chubb in order to get a pick. That's not even really all that good of a pick this upcoming season. They fired their coach after 15 games because it was terrible. Their organization is a mess. And they still owe Russell Wilson $160 million or whatever it is. Congratulations, Denver. That's why Denver's not in the running this year, because they got burned so badly last year. And the Jets are doing the exact same thing that Denver did last year. Did you see who the Jets interviewed for their offensive coordinator position, Ian?
Was it Hackett?
Hackett! Hey, we'll get your coach. We got it all, Aaron. Whatever it takes, we're willing to deal 2 first-round picks. We'll pay you $60 million.
Guess they got a little lucky they ran the same system with a LaFleur who got
I think that might be part of the reason why they fired LaFleur was because Aaron probably doesn't like the other LaFleur.
Yeah.
But it does feel like Green Bay has rolled out the red carpet and is just begging Aaron to go there. I said the Green Bay, the Jets. Now, here's why I would pick Tom Brady over Aaron Rodgers. Number one, who's the better player right now? I think it's kind of a toss-up. Rodgers did not have a good year, but he played hurt, but he's 2-time MVP the previous 2 seasons. He's a little bit younger than Brady, but Brady takes better care of himself. Brady eats avocado ice cream. Aaron Rodgers does ayahuasca. So I kind of lean Brady in that regard. What would it take to acquire Aaron Rodgers? Well, if the Jets are going to put up 2 first-round picks, then we got to start there. Would you deal 2 first-round picks for Aaron Rodgers? I wouldn't. So there's no compensation that's attached to Brady. Aaron's owed $60 million. I don't know what Amy Adams Strunk's budget is, but I guarantee you it's not the same as Johnson & Johnson in New York. And Brady would not ask for $60 million because Brady wants to win. But the number one reason why I would pick Tom Brady over Aaron Rodgers, I thought was articulated very well by Chris Sanders earlier today. Here's what he said.
I would go with Brady because the reason why I go with Brady is because of the relationship that he has with Mike Vrabel. They know each other. They crack jokes and do all those things, so they're familiar with each other. In my opinion, the reason why I would get Rodgers, and I say this in a respectful way, but his attitude sucks, and I just don't want a guy in my locker room that's going to disrupt everything that Mike Vrabel has built. The culture. We always talk about culture, and when you have a good culture, that means you have guys that are on the same page. I say this in a respectful way. I just don't think that Rodgers is a Mike Vrabel guy because at the end of the day, you want a quarterback that's going to respect you, and I just think that Rodgers is just all about himself. So I would go with Brady before Rodgers.
Subtext, Aaron Rodgers is kind of a loser. Aaron doesn't put winning first. No matter what Aaron says to Pat McAfee, he never puts winning first. When Tom Brady loses, he throws his helmet, he throws the tablet, he yells at the guys on the sidelines. That's real emotion from Tom Brady. When Aaron Rodgers lost to the Detroit Lions, he took a victory lap and then walked down to the tunnel with his arm around Randall Cobb, making it all about him. That's what it's always been about with Aaron Rodgers. It's always about him. That's not going to fly with Mike Vrabel. If Aaron Rodgers was 35 instead of 39, then maybe you could convince me that the great quarterback play would overrule the personality. But at 39, I don't feel it. This past year, if he was going to carry that Green Bay team, he would have done it, and he didn't. Aaron's just not dedicated like Tom Brady. And so I have to give up picks in order to get Aaron. I have to pay Aaron almost double what I would probably have to pay Brady. And I get the attitude? No, thank you. Phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com. Sean texts in. If the Titans are keeping Willis, having Brady for a year would be pretty helpful. And let me just say this. I'm going to say this one time, but I feel like I'm going to have to say this a bunch over the coming months. Literally nothing that the Titans do or don't do, from my vantage point, has anything to do with Malik Willis. I don't even consider it. It's like Dylan Radins or Nick Westbrook-Akine. When I think about wide receivers, and let's say that one of the top wide receivers in the league was disgruntled and wanted out. Terry McLaurin wants out of Washington. Would you factor Nick Westbrook-Akine into your thinking about what you should do about Terry McLaurin or DJ Moore? Of course not. Because Nick Westbrook-Akine just doesn't matter that much. That's how I feel about Malik. If I bring Josh Dobbs back or I bring in somebody else and they can battle it out with Malik in training camp, fine. But I do not consider Malik Willis any part of the future of the Tennessee Titans. Treylon Burks, absolutely. I think he's part of the future. Chigakonkwo, for sure. Nicholas Petit-Ferrer, absolutely. Malik Willis, 615-737-1025. Fitz is scheduled to join us, get his thoughts on the Titans quarterback situation as well. And, of course, we will get to your phones. TriStar Moving, my official movers. I moved with TriStar in 2020. And I thought it would be another moving company that I had to be worried about. And then I got to know the people there, and I knew that they would take care of my move, and they were fabulous. The crew at TriStar, they took great care of all of my possessions. And I have no hesitation in referring you to TriStar Moving. I love TriStar Moving. And I always tell people in the moving process, just get a bid, because moving is expensive. And so once you get the bid with TriStar and you work with their people, you will know that they are the best. So give them a call, 615-640-1219, or visit their website at nashvillemoving.org/radio, and you'll get 10% off your entire move, which is a lot of money because moving's expensive. So get a bid. That's 615-640-1219, nashvillemoving.org/radio. Tell them Jared Stillman sent you for 10% off your entire move. That's TriStar Moving, my official movers.
Hi, I'm UC Saros. And this is Smashville.
Now here's a try off to the side. What a stop made by UC Saros there.
Unreal. You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators Radio Network. ESPN 1025, The Game.
O'Reilly. When you need auto parts, O'ReillyAuto.com is just a few clicks away. We offer convenient options for you to get your parts quickly. Order online and pick up for free at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store. We'll even bring it out curbside. Or you can have your parts delivered right to your door with free shipping on most orders over $35. Visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
There's never a good time for your furnace to go out, especially in the winter, but it's always a good time to call Lee Company. Our heating and air conditioning pros are available 24/7. No heat? Don't wait. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000. Our expert technicians will diagnose the issue and fix it right the first time. When you're cold, you need someone you can count on to bring the heat. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
Happy New Year and Happy New You from Houston Clinic Orthopedics, conveniently located where you live and work, with various locations in and around the Nashville area. Houston's physicians specialize in spine, joint replacement, knee, hip, upper extremity, and many other orthopedic conditions. At Houston Clinic Orthopedics, they strictly adhere to all CDC guidelines for the patient's and staff safety. To experience world-class orthopedic care and see a list of all Houston physicians and specialties, visit their website at tn.houston.com and book your appointment online today.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Thinking about gas mileage? If your check engine light is on, it may be affecting your MPGs, but the free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help. With the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes, you'll know what's affecting your gas mileage and more, and you don't have to drive too far to find the fix. The free AutoZone Fix Finder service is available at all 6,200 stores.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
See details at AutoZone.com.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back March 31st. And if you haven't been to Third and Home on game day, you're missing out. It's the newest sports bar in Germantown that overlooks the Nashville Sounds ballpark. From the bar's spacious beer patio, you can see the whole Sounds game as if you were sitting in the seats with a ticket. No wonder it's known as Germantown's Bar with a Ballpark. Head to 3rd Avenue North for lunch, a night of brews, or to catch a game. Third and Home is open Wednesday through Sunday. Visit thirdandhome.com.
1025 and 1063 The Game is live and local.
And now, let's meet the starting lineups.
Robbie and Rex Road 6 to 9.
You are talking about a team that's building a roster.
Chase and Michelle 9 to 11.
He's still under contract.
It's not always X's and O's.
Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace 11 to 2.
Trades, free agents.
Let's get it going. I think this is a good hire.
And Stillman and Company 2 to 6.
I can give you one of the best coaches in the league.
And don't forget, we're your home for all things Nashville.
He scored!
Nashville's best sports talk. 1025 and 1063 The Game.
This is Greg McElroy, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 1025 The Game.
What do you think of Ryan Tannehill, and is he your quarterback?
I don't think that's fair. At this point, we're still evaluating the roster. I am, and that's going to take further conversations with me and Mike. Ryan has been great here. He's won a lot of football games, and I look forward to us winning football games, but I still need more time, to evaluate and make those decisions. As you know, this is a quarterback-driven league, and people are hired and fired every day over that position. So I want to spend more time evaluating that position, so I'll have my own opinion, and Mike and I will confer and figure it out.
There you go. That was Rand Carthon, and it's funny because I heard that, and I thought, oh, man, I plead the fifth on what's going to happen with the quarterback, or no comment on Ryan Tannehill. Oh, boy. The first day of the job, no commenting on the quarterback. Just ask yourself this. If he was taking the Los Angeles Chargers job, would he say no comment on Justin Herbert? No, he would not. And so, but sometimes I feel like I'm out on an island. I heard that. I thought, no way Tannehill's coming back, or at least that Carthon doesn't want Tannehill back. And then I asked Chris Sanders about it today, and he agreed. And I was like, maybe Rand Carthon should have thought that through more, or maybe he really just has no interest in Tannehill, and that will prove that way. Devin McCourty, part of the brotherhood of the New England Patriots, says he thinks Brady's coming to the Titans. Jason Fitz joins us now, ESPN Radio, here on the program. Fitz, let me start with this. Do you think Ryan Tannehill not should be the quarterback this season for the Titans? Do you think Ryan Tannehill will be the quarterback for the Titans this season?
If you'd asked me before the statement, I would have said yes. If you'd asked me after, I'd have said no. Like, I'm actually with you. Everything you just said hit me the same way. And I looked at it and I thought, man, that's bold and brazen, because when you take over an organization as a GM, part of the interview process is not only who would you bring in, how would you do it, but what's your plan with our existing roster. So that is part of a head coaching and GM interview for every single interview that ever happened. So what is your plan with Ryan Tannehill was actually part of Carthon's interview process, if it mirrors every other interview I've ever talked about. So no comment, like to basically want to kick that can down the road. I think that was a sweeping statement that says they're moving on at the quarterback position 100%.
Fitz, what do you make of Tom Brady's next move? He kind of no commented Jim Gray on his podcast the other day. I know your Raiders, it looks like they're lining up the wagon for Brady, but Rick Stroud of the Tampa Bay Times says the way Brady's family life is right now, he doesn't think Brady would go out west. And to that point, I'd say Brady's got to play for somebody next year if he's going to play. What do you make of it?
Yeah, I don't think he's headed to Vegas. And I know everybody puts the dots together with Josh McDaniels for a lot of different reasons, but let's be very clear. I don't think the Raiders are good enough as a roster for it to make sense for him. Even if they got some additions, they wouldn't be good enough. They're 2 years of roster additions away. So I've never bought Brady to the Raiders at all. What is interesting about this is a real human element. Like anybody that's ever gone through anything, a breakup, a divorce, any of it, you know what it's like when you come home and everything's quiet. And I think we do need to understand the human element. Brady hasn't had to face the silence. Right now, that is exactly what he faces when he comes home. Sure, he's got a million friends. He's Tom Brady. He lives life different than the rest of us. But for whatever distractions he could have over the course of the last several months, those are now gone in the sense of trying to figure out what's next for your family. I think it's absolutely, like, it's human for him to not know where he's going, not know what he wants to do. But it also, to Stroud's point, I think it's a valid one, he is going to be human in deciding what to do that works best with his family in the next step. So I think the Titans make a lot of sense. Terry Douglas and I last week on Fitz and Harry said we thought that the Titans should be considered as one of those teams that would make sense for him. So it's the region, it's the relationship with Vrabel that's obviously real. It's a no state income tax, not that that matters when you're rich as he is, but that's part of it. It's all those little things. But, you know, for the Titans, they're still going to have to go out and address the rest of the team to make sure that it's best as possible for them. But, yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense.
Wow. Fitz is with us. What do you make of Aaron Rodgers? It looks like the Jets are rolling out the same red carpet that Denver rolled out for Aaron last year. Obviously, Denver can't roll out the red carpet for Aaron because they signed Russell Wilson and they traded for him and everything that has happened to them. One, what do you make of the Jets' interest in this? And do you think what do you make of the Aaron sweepstakes? And where do the Titans fit in on that?
Yeah, I think, look, here's the thing of it. The Jets, it makes sense for the Jets. I don't know if it makes sense for Aaron Rodgers. I mean, there's a lot of weapons there. That's a good defense. I can see some reasons why that's good, and maybe he wants the media attention that comes with being in New York. I can see all of that. But, I know we debated last week whether or not the salary cap is fake or not. But Rob Demovsky said clearly this morning on Get Up that covers the Packers for ESPN that the Packers know that trading him would be really complicated, and they're not particularly interested in doing that quickly. So now the question becomes, how much do you like Aaron Rodgers if you can't acquire him until June 3rd, June 4th? Like, does that change any of this conversation around him? I think the complications around trading him still make it really unlikely that he's traded. I know that's not like a sexy take, but I think Aaron's going to run everybody through the ringer over and over and over again, capitalize on every ounce of attention he can get from McAfee's show. They'll maximize the ratings from it. He'll end up back in Green Bay, and Green Bay will do whatever they can to keep him happy. The rest of the details are too difficult for Green Bay to work around, I think.
Okay, so if Aaron stays in Green Bay and doesn't go to the Jets, then what do you think of the competition for the Titans with the Jets as far as Brady's concerned? Because the Jets are going to have to get somebody.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think Derek Carr is part of the Jets conversation as well, and I think Jimmy Garoppolo is part of the Jets conversation. None of those are sexy.
Is Tannehill part of the conversation, Fitz, if Brady comes here?
Should be. Look, I think that would make a ton of sense. The hardest part about this is, think about the timing on all of it, because Brady wants to take his time. So if you decide you want to give Brady the time to take, what if he doesn't make a decision for months, right? So then are you willing to do nothing at the quarterback position on the hope that you will be able to convince Brady that he needs to be where you are? That's a huge leveraged risk. I mean, the Raiders are in a situation where if they're going to trade Derek Carr, that likely has to happen within the first 3 days after the Super Bowl because of the way his contract is written. So the question is, if you're the Jets, do you wait for Tom Brady hoping you can convince him? If you're not 100% sure, do you simply have to take a flyer on Carr ahead of the market? So I think the timing is what makes it complicated for everybody. Everybody wants Brady and Rodgers, but are you willing to wait until June? And then if you do, what happens if you find out in May, that Brady just decides he isn't feeling like coming back? Then you thought he was going to be your quarterback. Now what are you doing? And I think the Titans are in that same situation. You can't get rid of Tannehill, in my mind, until you know what you're doing at that position. And if you don't know what you're doing at that position, can you really leverage a whole year on the thought that you're pretty sure Tom's going to feel good about coming back? That's a huge risk.
Fitz is with us on the program. I almost think that benefits the Titans because the Titans before in 2020 when it was Tannehill or Brady didn't have either guy under contract. Well, they've got Tannehill under contract for next season. So if Brady decides that he's going to come back and want to go to the Titans can work it out with Brady and then turn around and move Tannehill. If not, they can run it back with Tannehill. To that point, Fitz, I do think that Mike Vrabel, if the Titans are going to end up with Tom Brady, Mike Vrabel has got to sit down with Brady and say, hey, we're going to do our best to try to reshape the roster and shape the offense around you, but you have to do your part. You have to be here for OTAs. You have to make the relationship with your receivers, with your running backs, with your offensive line, with everything else, and we'll do what it takes, but you have to do your part. Do you think Brady, who has missed OTAs for years now he's divorced, do you think that?
Yeah, 100%. I think now he's divorced. The more distractions he can get, the better. I don't think that's a problem. I just think that still I'll maintain that even if that conversation happens, well, Brady doesn't decide if he's coming back until March, until April, until even after the draft. If he takes that long to make this decision,
he's not going to take that long.
To be free agents. Yeah, how do we know though? I think he's real when he goes on with Jim Gray and says, "I don't effing know." I think he's being real. And if he doesn't
remember
know,
when he unretired last year? Do you remember when that was?
Yeah, it was the very beginning of February, I think.
It was the Sunday before free agency that he unretired. And it was almost like he realized, hey, my team needs to know at this point. He'll make up his mind before the new league year starts, in my opinion.
I think in that situation, you're putting your football hat on. I'm just putting my real life hat on of like just this process of I can't imagine what he's going through right now and finally facing all of that. I just don't know if in a week he feels great about knowing he's going to play. And even if he rushes it, like he's made the comment a couple of times, I don't want to make the mistake I made last year and rush into anything. Well, I mean, at some point we presume that means he's going to rush to make a decision. I'm presuming that, like, what if he wants to spend a couple of weeks sowing his wild oats in Greece, and then he wants to go hang out with Gronk somewhere, that rich people hang out, and then all of a sudden he's sitting around and he's like, man, I don't know what I want to do. Like, I don't know how you put a timetable on massive life change, and Brady has always been able to just focus through massive life change. I don't know how you do that at this point. So I'm with you. Like, if you can do all of this before free agency, it's a massive home run. I think there's a huge what if if it can't get done before that.
Fitz, last one for you and put you on the hot seat. Who will be the quarterback of the Tennessee Titans in 2023?
I like Brady. I think Brady's the quarterback. I think it makes the most sense. I think the system works, the relationships work, and that matters to Brady right now. I think Brady's going to want to go somewhere. If he goes somewhere where he's really comfortable with the coaching staff, that's obvious with Vrabel. We all know that exists. I think that matters in this situation. So I think he's going to go. I think he ends up with the Titans. I think the Titans end up aggressively looking at how to add some weapons and some offensive line depth, and they run it back in a division that suddenly looks much different. Like, I don't think if Brady's the quarterback of the Raiders are winning the West. I think if Brady's the quarterback of the Titans are winning the South.
Jason Fitz, ESPN radio host of Fitz and Harry on ESPN Radio, says Tom Brady will be a Titan. Fitz, great stuff. I'm going to try not to get my hopes up, though. Appreciate you. We'll talk next week.
Appreciate you, brother. Have a good week.
Okay. I do not want to get my hopes up about this.
That's going to be hard. This is going to be a long process.
Oh, God. Tom Brady to the Titans. Oh, God. Oh. Like I said, see, I thought that Rand Carthon comment when he made it, I heard that and I was like,
about
boy,
Tannehill?
He really didn't commit to Tannehill at all. And I heard that. And I thought to myself, that's how I felt about it. But I know that there are certain things that I feel a certain way. And then everybody else is like, oh, you're crazy, Jared. Oh, you're reading too much into it. And Chris Sanders and Fitz both were like, nah, we heard that. We're like, oh, he's done. He's not interested in Tannehill. And if you're not going with Tannehill, here's the list: Tannehill, Brady, Rodgers, Carr, Jimmy, who sucks, Baker, who wouldn't get along with Vrabel, drafting a quarterback, and maybe Trey Lance. I mean, Brady seems like the most logical on that list. To your phones next on this, 615-737-1025. That's our phone number, 615-737-1025, here on Stillman & Company. The Preds have a game tomorrow night, which means it's your chance to participate in Preds Pick to Click. Brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. It's my realtor right there. And Superbook Sports. If you correctly guess a Preds player that scores a goal in the game tomorrow night, you win a pair of tickets to an upcoming Preds home game. Participate in Preds Pick to Click tomorrow morning at 8:45 with Robbie and Rexroad.
Want the latest on college football and Nashville sports?
He looks like 1,000 quarterbacks I've seen in a college game.
Join Outkick 360's Chad Withrow every Friday at 5 with Stillman and Company.
The coaching staff kept him and got rid of the other guys.
He'll bring opinions and charisma for a full half hour every week.
If he's so great in the locker room, then give him a coaching gig.
Chad Withrow is presented by Two Rivers Ford. Custom order your new Ford from Two Rivers Ford on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, it's Mike from Newton Nissan. It's a new year, so I thought I would share my personal resolution with you. My resolution is to be able to hula hoop on the trampoline for 1 minute. This might be painful. Since I've had years of practice making resolutions, I thought I'd give you some tips on making yours. It should involve 3 key components. First, make it something new, like texting without using your thumbs. Second, make it easy, like reading more, or at least turning the subtitles on while binge watching Netflix. And third, make sure no matter what, that you buy your next new car from Newton. We want to make your purchase fast and easy with Newton FastPass. We'll even deliver the car to you. Remember, new, easy, and buy at Newton. I have a feeling this next year is going to be great. Shop at newtonnissan.com to start your resolution today. See website for details. Put your resolutions in writing.
Hey Nashville, TJ Anderson here. With real estate listings, you have to read between the lines. Like waterfront property, more like a mosquito farm. Pride of ownership, they're really proud of the DIY job they did. Seller says sell. Really? I thought they just put it on the market for fun. My team at TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty is ready to help both home buyers and sellers decode the market. Oh, and if it says don't let this one pass you by, it's probably on wheels. Google TJ Anderson Homes, read our reviews, and see why we are referred for a reason. TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty, 615-432-2919.
Hey, you think mortgage rates are still super high? Well, think again. Rates have plummeted to a 5-month low. Hey, Willie Donick here. Call my friends at Loan Pronto now to see how low rates are. It may be time to do that refinance you've been putting off, or time to get back to house hunting. If you're like a lot of people, you've got way too much credit card debt right now, and you're getting fleeced with 20+% interest charges every month, or maybe your current home rate is over 6%. So if that applies to any of you, listen, you can get a quick, easy refi at Loan Pronto. Wipe out all those cards. Close in about 14 days and cut your overall expenses by $500 a month or more. How does that sound to you? Right now, Loan Pronto is doing refis with APRs in the 4s. So call now to take advantage of this big rate drop. Get those credit cards to zero. Start that home improvement project, or get out of that 7% loan you were forced into last year. Here's the phone number, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Hey, it's Hutton. Interest rates are rising, but not at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Replace your old unit fast before new regulations increase prices up to 20%. Get a new unit today at today's price and receive up to $1,500 off, or get 18 months of no payments. That's right, no payments until summer 2024. At Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, all new systems come with a 10-year parts and labor warranty. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, servicing southern Middle Tennessee. Schedule your appointment now at springhillac.com. That's springhillac.com.
A show that lives and breathes sports.
Focus in, focus in, focus in.
From the SEC.
Credit to the Alabamas, the Georgias, and the Ohio States of the world.
To the Preds.
They've been in a lot of really tight games, but they're not winning enough of them.
To the Titans.
He's talking about what this franchise has built over the years.
Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace.
What is this? Check it out.
The two on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company, presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Tom, you're leaving everybody guessing. You've said you'll take your time. Do you have any type of a timetable as to what you might want to do regarding your football career?
Jim, if I knew what I was going to fucking do, I'd have already done it. Okay? I'm taking it a day at a time.
I sense you're antagonized by the question.
You're scratching.
It's only the question scratchy that everybody wants to hear.
You're scratchy. Scratchy. I appreciate your asking. Thank you.
Can anybody explain to me what the hell that scratchy thing means?
I've never heard that term, really. Scratchy.
I don't. What the hell is Brady talking about there?
I don't know.
But again, that was Tom Brady on the Let's Go podcast, Sirius XM. He and I are co-workers. I don't have any inside information. I am trying to not get my hopes up. I am trying to not get my hopes up about Tom Brady coming to the Titans. But Chris Sanders today, he said he thinks the Tannehill era is over. Fitz said he thinks that the Tannehill era is over. And Fitz just said he thinks Tom Brady's coming to the Titans. I am trying to not get my hopes up. You know, Tom Brady has a Sirius XM email. Obviously not going to reveal what that is. Just like I have a Sirius XM email, not going to reveal what that is. And there's our organizational flow chart, and he's on it, as am I. And I could email his Sirius XM email account, considering that I don't really check my Sirius XM email account. I highly doubt he checks his. But I could email him and say, please come to the Titans. Not sure that would really have much of an effect, though. I did promise your phones. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. 2 texters have texted in this sentiment, and I've heard it more often than not. Chris in Lewisburg, though, says, you might get 1 year out of Brady, then what? Another texter says, in talking about Brady. If Tom does come and the Titans do win a Super Bowl for a year or two and then not at all after he leaves, what are they going to do? And let me say this. Your questions about and then what, they're great questions. I do not care. My dad is 70 years old. By the time next football season kicks off, he'll be 71. I just want to win one Super Bowl. Brady gets me there. He gives me a chance. Tom Brady gives every team that he's on a chance to win the Super Bowl. Is it the same as it was 10 years ago? Of course not. But he gives you a chance. Tannehill, I hate to say it, but probably not. But the whole what are they going to do down the road, well, I don't know. What are they going to do 2 years from now? You do realize that if they bring it back with Tannehill, and I am pro bringing it back with Tannehill, I'm not going to be upset if Tannehill ends up being the quarterback like I was last year. But if they bring it back with Tannehill, you do realize he's a free agent after this year. So unless you want to franchise him and pay him $45 million, which I don't want to do, then you're going to have to extend Tannehill's contract, or you're going to have to come to an agreement with Tannehill after next season. So you asked the question about Brady, well, what are you going to do after next year with Tannehill? And the truth is, you don't know. That's how this league works. Baker Mayfield went to the Carolina Panthers, and it was if this doesn't work out, then back to the carousel we go. And it's like, if this doesn't work out for Baker, back to being a back, or enjoy being a backup. That's what it means. You never know. We all thought Baker sucked, and then he got claimed by the Rams, played well in a couple of national TV games, and it's like, here goes Baker Mayfield right back to starting. I can't answer questions as to what's going to happen 3 years down the road. I have no idea. They don't have an idea. Who are the top quarterbacks coming out of the draft 3 years from now? You don't know. They're in high school right now. So, no, I don't know. Apparently, Scratchy is, the text line's blowing up. Scratchy is Jim Gray's nickname.
Interesting.
I always thought Jim Gray was kind of a schlub.
I've never heard that nickname. Someone called in and said, he was being irritated, scratchy, itchy, just kind of irritated.
I don't know. I have never been a Jim Gray fan. Now, I don't have beef with what he said to Pete Rose at the 1999 World Series that everybody lost their bananas over, but I just always kind of thought Jim Gray was kind of a dork. I'm not a Jim Gray fan. Never really been a Jim Gray fan. He always used to do basketball when I was a kid, and Ahmad Rashad, who was best buddies with Michael Jordan, Ahmad, they'd go down courtside. It's like, all right, we go down courtside, and here's Ahmad Rashad. Ahmad, thank you, Bob. I just talked to the Chicago Bulls inside the locker room, and Michael Jordan told me that he thinks the key to this game is going to be rebounding. They know that they can play with Utah in the front court, but will they be able to rebound the ball against Karl Malone? And with a report of the Jazz, here's Jim Gray. Thanks, Ahmad. Nobody would talk to me because I'm annoying as hell. Like, that's kind of the vibe that I used to get from Jim Gray. But NBC just kept putting him up there, and now he's like Brady's personal media caddy.
Weird. Brady and Jim Gray, of all the people.
Brady did the sit-down with Oprah, and they flashed to Giselle at one point when Brady was talking, and she was off the set. And Jim Gray was sitting right next to Giselle. I'm like, what the? I just... is what it is. Texter says, please do not bring Grandpa Brady to the Titans. With our offensive line, Brady would get killed. He's old and cannot move. Guys, the offensive line is not going to be the same. How many times do I have to say this? They just hired a new general manager so that the offensive line will not be the same. Dennis Daly will not be playing left tackle for the Titans next year.
The offense probably would look the same. Or look a little bit different, And as far as there probably would not be as many of these rollouts and Tannehill things that we see, correct? I mean, you can't run some of these same runs with Tannehill as you can with Brady.
So here's what I think is going to happen.
I mean, he's going to get rid of the ball super quick, so the O-line I'm not so worried about, but I do think the offense would look a little different.
Who do you think the coordinator is going to be?
I mean, really don't know, but I think we're leaning Kelly.
Okay, where did Tim Kelly come from?
Houston.
Who do you work for?
Bill O'Brien.
Where's Bill O'Brien?
You think he'd steal some New England thoughts?
I think that's the system.
Yeah.
When Bill O'Brien got to the Texans, that is what O'Brien used. When he was at the Texans, remember the quarterback controversy on Hard Knocks? It was Ryan Mallett versus Brian Hoyer, both Brady backups. They were running the New England system, so Kelly knows it. Now, Kelly knows the system they run here, which means that if Tim Kelly is the offensive coordinator, you can run either. The truth is the offensive coordinator, if Tom Brady comes to the Titans, is going to be who, Ian?
I mean, I guess you got to give Brady himself most of the power.
It's Brady.
Give him most of the juice on that, I guess.
And they're going to run what the Patriots run. They're going to run what Tampa Bay ran, and they're going to give the ball to Derrick Henry like Tampa Bay wanted to give the ball to Leonard Fournette. They will run the hell out of Derrick Henry, just like New England ran LeGarrette Blount all those years. And then Henry comes off the field on 3rd down and 4, and just like Deion Lewis or Kevin Falk or all those running backs in New England would come on the field, Dontrell Hilliard will run on the field then. That's what it's going to be. That's if Brady comes here. But I'm trying to not get my hopes up. Joe Rexrode will join us next to debate. By the way, somebody texted into the text line and said, screw the then what? Let's just win one Super Bowl and be freaking relevant. Amen. Amen. Yes. Just win one. And then once they win one, I bet you if Mike Vrabel won a Super Bowl as coach of the Titans, I think I would say that I would never call for Mike Vrabel to be fired as the coach of the Titans because they won a Super Bowl. That's all I care about is winning one Super Bowl. And then maybe I'll worry about the other things, but right now I just care about winning one Super Bowl. Joe Rexrode will join us to debate next, and I'm sure the quarterback situation will be a part of it. Jared versus Joe, Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Stuck at work without a radio?
Wait a minute, disastrous.
I hate that.
It's got to be there.
That's okay. Download the Game Nashville app or go to theGameNashville.com and listen live. We are Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Time for the Preds Report.
Presented by Newton Nissan.
Another wild night at Bridgestone Arena. Another big game. Predators and division rival, the Winnipeg Jets. The Jets had defeated the Predators in overtime earlier in the year. And in this one, the game was 1-1 after 2. They go into the third period. And the tiebreaker, the game winner, scored by a guy who's been waiting for a while. The shot goes wide. Wraparound try! And the score! Tanner Jeannot puts the Predators in front 2-1. Tanner Jeannot with his 4th of the season, set up by Tommy Novak, and the Predators go on and hold on to win the game by a 2-1 count. Up next, the Predators tomorrow night play host to New Jersey's Devils. 6 o'clock pregame, 7 o'clock game time. This is Pete Weber reporting on the Fifth Third Bank Nashville Predators Radio Network.
All the best car deals in Smashville start at Newton Nissan. Visit them at Newton Nissan of Gallatin or Newton Nissan South in Shelbyville.
This is Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
If you've been watching the NFL playoffs on the sidelines, there is still time to get in the game with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Joe Rexford here to let you know. New customers, bet this Sunday's conference championship games with $150 in free bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. All you got to do is sign up with promo code Joe102. Look, if I was making a bet on this one, I tell you what, I like the Bengals a lot. If I was going to do a parlay, I'd go Bengals. I'd go mix an anytime touchdown. I'd go under at Kansas City. You do whatever you want. Just know that FanDuel has your favorite bets, money line, point spreads, player props, but you can combine them for a bigger payout with a same-game parlay, all on an app that's safe, secure, and very important to me, very easy to use. Football fans, don't miss out. Place your first $5 bet. You get $150 in free bets, win or lose, with promo code Joe102. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. You must be 21 and older, present Tennessee. First on the real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is now $1 free bets expiring 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 800-889-9789.
At Genesis Diamonds, it's not just a new year.
It's a new opportunity to bring you more choices, more value, more ways to celebrate your love. So we've expanded our selection of exquisite hand-picked diamonds from a half carat to 15 carats, all shapes, all sizes, all at our famous no middleman prices. This year especially, we know price matters, and we're committed to delivering the best value every day. We've also brought in even more exclusive designer jewelry, new cutting-edge fashion-forward rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, pendants, things you can't find anywhere else. And of course, Genesis is proud to offer a truly spectacular collection of luxury pre-owned Rolex timepieces. We have all the most popular models in stock with no wait list and no restrictions. Is this the year you reward yourself with a premier name and timepieces? Come to Genesis in 2023 and let our non-commissioned experts help you celebrate those important milestones. We guarantee the best value, the highest quality, and the strongest warranties and guarantees in the jewelry industry. Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes.
Your Game Center update.
This Game Center update is brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. The Nashville Predators have now won 2 straight games after a 2-1 victory over the Winnipeg Jets last night. Preds head coach John Hines after the game.
We have talked a lot about the word consistency, and I think, we played the last 2 games the way that I think our team is capable of playing. And it's nice to see, what our group looks like when we're playing the game the right way. And, we got another big one coming up, so I think it's important for us to be able to stay with it.
The Preds have one more game tomorrow night versus New Jersey before the All-Star break. Don't miss tonight's latest edition of Smashville Live Players Show, live from Brewhouse South in Cool Springs. Host Darren McFarland and Hal Gill will be joined by Preds players Nino Niederreiter and Ryan McDonough. In NFL playoff news, Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes says he's ready to go for the AFC title game versus the Bengals this Sunday. And after the Tennessee Vols announced a contract extension through January 2029 for head football coach Josh Heupel yesterday, athletic director Danny White was given a contract extension today as well. This update is brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. I'm Ian Safar for 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 102.5 The Game or visit theGameNashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUZ HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
A gunny performance. Do your job.
And the Tigers regain the lead.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Where you have a voice.
He had a competent coaching staff. You just play terrible and you keep playing.
And we have strong opinions.
What a whiny freaking crybaby response.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to Superbook Sports, live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. 5 o'clock on a Wednesday means it's time for Jared versus Joe. Caroline's here. Hello, Caroline.
Hello, how we doing?
Outstanding. Joe is with us, and I have not had much to argue with Joe about lately, so let's get right to it, Joe, unless there's something you'd like to say first.
Just hello.
Ian, let's do it.
Jared Stillman versus Joe Rexrode. Now on Stillman and Company.
On ESPN.
102.5 The Game.
Caroline, floor's yours.
All right, you are Rand Carthon. You are the general manager of the Tennessee Titans. Who is your quarterback of 2023? Joe, you go first.
Hold on. You are Rand Carthon and Mike Vrabel. This is a collaborative process here.
Pardon. You are the entire collaboration group.
Okay,
Joe.
You're starting with me?
Yeah, go for it. Go crazy.
I get to pick whoever my quarterback is.
You get to pick whoever you want.
But you can't say Joe Burrow.
I mean,
Patrick
realistically.
Patrick Mahomes. I'm going to Jedi mind trick the Chiefs, and I'll take Mahomes. Okay, but you got to give me more guideline than because
why?
Just say it like this.
Let me tell you why.
Who's going to be the quarterback next year?
Well, I think it'll be Ryan Tannehill. But let me say this: this should not be a question Rand Carthon can answer right now. He better not be able to answer this question right now because there is a lot of work to do on these rookies coming out. There's a lot of work to do, and you need to do this work like you have the top pick. Like, you are taking one of them. So if you come away and you're like, you know what, this is it. This is the future of the Tennessee Titans, and we're going to do whatever it takes, and that's that. Then there you go. That's your answer. You can't possibly have that answer right now. Right now, with the information you have, it's Ryan Tannehill, but that work better be done, and it will be. And they can't possibly answer it right now. They don't know. There's so much more film to watch, let alone the interviews and the meat market and all that.
I don't think it's going to be Ryan Tannehill. I think it's going to be Tom Brady. And I am trying to not get my hopes up, but the idea of it being Tannehill. I mean, when Rand Carthon pled the fifth on Friday, when I asked him if he was going to commit to Tannehill,
that
and say,
meant nothing.
That's not what Fitz said today. That's not what Chris Sanders said today. They both heard that comment from Rand Carthon, and they said he's not. Tannehill's out.
Oh God!
So that's 3 versus 1.
Like he's going to have any comment. Like he's going to have. It's a fine question to ask. I have no problem with you asking the question. But you know some of these questions, like you absolutely know the answer before you ask the question. And there was no way he was going to be like, you know, I got to tell you, I cannot wait for Ryan Tannehill to quarterback the Tennessee Titans in 2023. It is going to be a dynamite year with number 17. He was never going to say it. He's going to be non-committal all the way.
No.
Of course he was.
If he thought Tannehill was going to be the quarterback, if Rand Carthon got in those meetings with Amy Adams Strunk and presented Ryan Tannehill as the quarterback for next year, then it would have been the smartest thing in the world for him to get up there and say, oh, yeah, Ryan's our guy.
Nope.
We like Ryan. We believe in Ryan. I'm taking
have.
this job because I believe in Ryan. Imagine what that would do for Ryan Tannehill's relationship with Rand Carthon.
Oh,
Instead,
like
Rand Carthon's like, I don't
know. It would have been stupid. Why would you do that? Why would you paint yourself in a corner? Like I just said.
A corner? He's under contract.
So what? You can cut him and be fine. Like I just said, you absolutely have to approach this draft like you're taking a quarterback. And he knows that, and Vrabel knows that, and Amy knows that, and he was never going to say anything about Tannehill. Get out.
Do you think one of these guys will be the starting quarterback of the Titans? Will Levis, C.J. Stroud, or Bryce Young?
Right now, I would say Tannehill is definitely a higher probability. I mean, again, I don't know what their evaluation is going to be. I don't know what the interview is going to be like. I don't know a lot of information. Like, they also don't know the information.
But you have to pick one today, and you're picking Tannehill.
Right.
I'm picking Brady. I think Brady continues to play. I don't think he goes out west because of his kids. That leaves 3 teams that I think make sense that have not reportedly already checked out. Like Miami has said they're going with Tua. That leaves 3 teams. Tennessee, the Jets, who have rolled out the red carpet for Aaron Rodgers, and the Falcons. And I don't know if the Falcons would have interest in Brady or not. And so I do think it's going to be Tom Brady. I'm trying not to get my hopes up. Fitz was on 30 minutes ago. Fitz said he thinks Brady's going to be the quarterback. I think Brady's going to be the quarterback this year. And again, I'm trying to not get my hopes up, but I think it's going to be Brady. By the way, just so we're keeping track here, both Ian, back me up on this. Fitz and Chris both today said Rand Carthon's comments made them think he's out on Tannehill, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, let's go around the room. Ian, do you believe that?
Not just based off the initial comments. I can't go all the way there.
Caroline?
Yeah, I do.
You do?
Yeah.
You think he's done with Rand Carthon, or Rand Carthon's not interested in Tannehill?
Well, I think it would be that he is not interested in Tannehill to an extent of who else is out there that's better. If there's no other quarterback in this draft that's better and no other free agent that's one better or two worth it like Brady, then let's just run it back with Tannehill. But I think Rand Carthon believes that this team needs to upgrade.
So that would mean that the standings on that, Joe, are 4-1 to 1. It's kind of like hockey. Ian's like the overtime loss. You are the one that's saying, that didn't mean anything.
No, but you're again. You're taking my words and you're putting meaning into them that is not there. What I'm saying is that of course he was going to have the response he had. I don't know that he's not out on Tannehill. would I be shocked if Rand Carthon's like, yeah, we can probably do better? No, and that's fine. They should try to do better. What I'm saying is, you're saying who's going to be the quarterback? If that's the question, then I think the highest likelihood is Ryan Tannehill.
Okay. I'll go with Brady. Caroline, what's
That's
next?
what you changed the question to.
On to the next. Okay, on to the next. The Titans, in Mel Kiper's most recent mock draft, have the Titans taking Paris Johnson, an offensive tackle out of Ohio State. What's the bigger need, offensive line or wide receiver?
Who goes first?
You.
I think it's wide receiver, only because of the draft versus free agency. There is the wide receiver position, there's nobody there. And maybe Mecole Hardman, but he's not really a number one. The Titans need a starting wide receiver in this draft. Now, I'm not ruling out that Burks could become a really good player and could be like a number one receiver, because even receivers take a little bit of time. And receivers, I mean, look at all these guys. They're not all first-round picks. Stephon Diggs was a fourth-round pick. Tyreek Hill, I think, was like a fifth-round pick. AJ and DK Metcalf were second-round picks. So there's no guarantee that it has to be a first-round pick. But I do believe the Titans need a starter at wide receiver to go opposite Treylon Burks, and I don't know if that guy exists in free agency this year, whereas there are starting tackles out there. And the Bengals went this route where everybody said, oh, your line's so bad, you got to go out there and you got to take the lineman with your first pick, and they took Jamar Chase instead. And the real money, now tackles are getting paid a lot of money, but there's more money in receiving than there is in tackles, and I think that's because the value in today's NFL is higher on receiver than it is tackle. I think the Titans can find serviceable tackles, not Dennis Daly, but serviceable tackles in free agency, whereas I don't know if you can find a dynamic playmaker at wide receiver in free agency. I think they would need to focus more on that in the draft.
So Caroline, the question is draft need?
Yes. Mel Kiper has the Titans, mocks the Titans taking an offensive tackle with the 11th overall pick. Do you think tackle, offensive line, or wide receiver is a bigger need?
Yeah, I mean, so first of all, offensive line is a bigger need because there's more people you need, and I don't know exactly how many, because I don't know what's up with Ben Jones. I don't know what's up with Nate Davis. There's a lot of questions. It could be four. I don't know what they think of Brewer. I don't know if Brewer can be the center. So there's a lot of questions. Either way, you certainly at least need two starting quality offensive linemen. I would agree strictly from the draft perspective that it's probably better to use, if you're picking there, like if you think Quentin Johnston is that good, can be a starter, then I would probably do that. Again, though, even as I say that, if you believe you've got a 10-year really good starting left tackle, that's also really important. But overall need, I mean, just because of the volume of people, I would say offensive line. I mean, Jared, you are so downplaying the state of the offensive line last year, how bad it was, and you seem to think because John Robinson worked wonders in his first offseason, and he did, that it's just that easy. Yeah, sure, you can just go sign a Ben Jones and draft Jack Conklin, and Taylor Lewan will turn his career around, and boom, no
problem. Hey, Joe, who played on Cincinnati's offensive line last week?
Well, just go ahead and say what you want to say, Jared.
3 backups in there for Cincinnati. Their line sucks anyways when the starters are in there, and yet they still rushed for all those yards on Buffalo, and Joe Burrow still got the ball to his receivers who were always open because they're all good. You can get by in the league with a substandard offensive line if you've got the playmakers around. The Titans line, they ran for 2,000 yards with 2 backup tackles.
And Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Joe Mixon, you're right.
No, if I've got Derrick Henry and A.J. Brown, I can get by with no offensive line.
Well, A.J. Brown's gone, Jared.
I know, which is why you got to draft the next one. That's why it's a bigger need, Joe.
But, hey, that wasn't a big deal, right? As I recall, I kind of like that move. Hey, I get it. The bad
Hey, we've already said that you were right about that one. And still, like I said, Burks could be, I still think Burks can become a player. Like, I do not think that Malik Willis or Caleb Farley can become players. I do think there's a chance that Burks can become a player. We've got more Jared versus Joe coming up next, even though I don't know why. I feel like I've smoked him. Jared versus Joe will continue here on Stillman and Company. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Those are my guys. They take great care of my home, and they can do the exact same for you. They've been taking care of my home for years. Let them do the exact same for you. This month, when you buy something you need for your home, Hiller will give you something you want. Pick your prize. Get a free 55-inch TV, an Apple iPad, a Solo stove, or a Nintendo Switch when you purchase a new whole home generator, or select new HVAC systems, or get a free 55-inch TV, a Nintendo Switch, or Solo stove when you upgrade to a new tankless water heater. There's no better time to take care of your necessary home replacements than right now. So do it with my friends at Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Again, that's Hiller. Proud supporters of the Nashville Predators, the Tennessee Volunteers, and the Vanderbilt Commodores. Hiller, call the Happy Face Truck today.
Your home for MTSU basketball is 94.9 The Fan.
Three ball, yes sir!
All the big shots and moments live here. MTSU basketball is on a station built for you. 94.9 The Fan.
Hey, it's Mike from Newton Nissan South. It's a new year, so I thought I would share my personal resolution with you. My resolution is to be able to hula hoop on the trampoline for 1 minute. This might be painful. Since I've had years of practice making resolutions, I thought I'd give you some tips on making yours. It should involve 3 key components. First, make it something new, like texting without using your thumbs. Second, make it easy, like reading more, or at least turning the subtitles on while binge watching Netflix. And third, make sure no matter what, that you buy your next new car from Newton. We want to make your purchase fast and easy with Newton FastPass. We'll even deliver the car to you. Remember, new, easy, and buy at Newton. I have a feeling this next year is going to be great. Shop at NewtonNissanSouth.com to start your resolution today. See website for details. Put your resolutions in writing.
Join the Nashville Chamber of Commerce for YP Nashville Connect 2023. This Thursday, YP Connect will be in the East Club at Nissan Stadium. This after-hours trade show style event connects young professionals to community impact opportunities with YP Nashville member organizations. As the largest gathering of young professionals in Nashville, YP Connect is a great way to get you plugged into Nashville's expansive young professional community. Register online for the next event at NashvilleChamber.com. That's NashvilleChamber.com.
Hey, you think mortgage rates are still super high? Well, think again. Rates have plummeted to a 5-month low. Hey, Willie Donick here. Call my friends at Loan Pronto now to see how low rates are. It may be time to do that refinance you've been putting off, or time to get back to house hunting. If you're like a lot of people, you've got way too much credit card debt right now, and you're getting fleeced with 20+% interest charges every month, or maybe your current home rate is over 6%. So if that applies to any of you, listen, you can get a quick, easy refi at Loan Pronto. Wipe out all those cards. Close in about 14 days and cut your overall expenses by $500 a month or more. How does that sound to you? Right now, Loan Pronto is doing refis with APRs in the 4s. So call now to take advantage of this big rate drop. Get those credit cards to zero. Start that home improvement project, or get out of that 7% loan you were forced into last year. Here's the phone number, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
We try to stay cool by being on social media.
I'm with it. I'm hip.
Follow us on Twitter at 1025thegame and on Instagram at 1025thegame Nashville.
Hey!
Oh yeah, and like us on Facebook too. Strong opinions and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman and Company, presented by TriStar Moving on 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Jared Stillman versus Joe Rexrode, now on Stillman and Company
On ESPN
1025 The Game.
All right, round number 2, Jared versus Joe. Caroline, where are we starting?
All right, I need Joe's opinion on this before we get into anything. Joe, Jared versus Mike Vrabel. Who won the Craig Aukerman discussion?
Oh, my gosh. Well.
Should we play the audio for the audience first?
That might be for the best.
Okay, let's do that. This was Friday. Now, I've been bitching about Craig Ackerman for years. I asked Vrabel, why'd you keep him?
Why'd you keep Craig Ackerman on the staff with the special teams issues this season?
Well, I think what special teams? What are you talking about? Let's look at these objectively and let's talk.
All of them.
Punts that were returned throughout the course of the year, leading the league in those punts.
The punts that were returned against us, or ones we returned.
Well, both. Honestly.
Well, we were third in the league in the net punting. We were third in the National Football League in net punting. Third, 44 yards. So again, I'm happy to have this conversation, but our punter just set a record. And again, there were some long, flat punts that got returned. But when you look at it, third in the National Football League in net punting with the number of players that were on our punt team and the number of gunners we went through is pretty good. Yep. We got to find guys. Rand, go find some returners that don't drop the ball. Because I'm with you. We went through a lot of returners. You have a vision of guys, okay? You asked me a question. I'm going to try to answer it. We're going to catch punts until our hands bleed or they get calloused, okay? But we had a vision, okay, that we draft Kyle. We saw what he did early in the season. First game, huge punt return. Man, we got and then he muffs one, okay? And then he gets injured and he's practicing and then we go to Buffalo, right? And whatever it was Robert and Amani. Like, I can relive this. I would rather not. We got to find somebody that we can trust back there. But I can't put that on Craig Ackerman when I see the amount of time that we spend catching punts. Like, we go through more jugs machines than anybody. Okay, I get it. We got to make sure we take care of the ball. But I can't say that that's Craig Ackerman when I'm evaluating everything that we're doing.
Joe?
Well, before Vrabel even gave his answer, I mean, you know, I immediately tweeted, something like, great, let's waste time asking why Ackerman wasn't fired at this press conference. So I was immediately annoyed with Jared's question.
Why is that a bad question?
Who cares?
Because the special teams freaking suck, Joe.
Oh, yeah, dude. Like the fact that I'm not saying Craig Ackerman's amazing or whatever, but the idea that missed field goals go on the special teams coach is one of the weirdest.
Okay, what about hitting a snapper in the head?
Yeah.
What about not lining up on sides on a field goal against Philadelphia? What about the fact that they haven't blocked any kicks since 2019? They haven't returned a kickoff for a touchdown since 2018.
Oh, my goodness. Well,
what about the Jamal Agnew return in the Jacksonville game that led to a Jacksonville touchdown? Do those not count?
Yeah, some of those count. I do count the Bengals mistake. I mean, lining up offside, that's a player mistake. The mistake of hitting the guy, hitting the snapper, that's got to go back to Ackerman. So I agree. I mean, I'm not saying it's perfect. You're going through, missed field goals and stuff. I mean, I think that's not special teams goals. But the question is, who won the debate? I know a lot of people were like, yeah, Vrabel, yeah. I mean, here's the thing. What you did see, Caroline, and everyone, I wish you could have been there, was after the presser when Kaharski's like, well, you should have said this and this. And he's giving you this rundown, all the stuff you didn't say. You didn't get much out. So Vrabel kind of dominated you, and you didn't get to say your whole piece. I understand it's difficult, but in those moments, you got to step up, man. You got to step up in those moments, and you got to just fire away and just cut him off. And I hope next time you take this lesson, and you go back to the lab, and next time you come back, you got to go ahead and interrupt him more, man. So I got to give it to Vrabel.
Oh, wow. Joe is advocating for me to go all Kaharski and combative with Vrabel. I will say this.
I'm just saying, if it's gonna be a debate between you two, you barely said any of the things.
But that's not why I go to press conferences. Caroline, how many times have we been over this? How many times have we been over this? I ask all those questions with no tone, I am not trying to pick fights. I am trying to ask questions.
I'm not saying pick a fight. I'm not saying have a tone. But if you ask the question and he says, like what? Okay, here you go. You better be ready to rip it off before he gets back at you, and you barely said anything.
I mean, look, in hindsight, you're right. I should not have let Vrabel cut me off like a caller. Like, that's what happened. But at the same time, this is the one thing I'll say about the Craig Ackerman thing. If you think that Vrabel was right about what he said, I love the fact, like, Rand, go get us some returners. So when we do something well, like third in the NFL in net punting, though I can't remember when the Titans are putting people down at the 5-yard line or things like that win you games. I know when Logan Cook of the Jags is putting you down at the 5-yard line, but I don't know when the Titans are putting anybody down at the 5-yard line. But when Brett Kern was punting like a weapon every game, I don't remember what they were in net punting. But if you take Vrabel's side on this, then you have to own Craig Ackerman and every mistake the special teams makes next year, which are going to be plenty because Craig Ackerman sucks. So if you're on Vrabel's side with that one, that every time they screw up on special teams next year and they lose, and you know it's going to happen. When that happens, we're going to play that cut every time. Every time we're going to play that cut. And I think the fact that you thinking that asking about Ackerman is a waste of time, it disappoints me because Ackerman freaking stinks and has to go.
Yeah, again, you are at least you're consistent with this, and your conviction on like various position coaches and how bad they are or this or that. This is one of those things. The OC. This is a job that, and I'd say both coordinators, but obviously OC. I mean, that's a much easier job for us to evaluate. I mean, everybody can. I'm not saying their special teams can't get better. They can. I couldn't care less whether he fires Craig Ackerman or not. Like, I don't feel like Craig Ackerman is out there teaching them like 1973 stuff, and it's just all about him. I think most
So what did you think Todd Downing was teaching them?
Are player mistakes. What?
What did you think Todd Downing was teaching them? You think Todd Downing was teaching them to hold on the Derrick Henry long run? No. You think Todd Downing was teaching Derrick Henry to fumble the ball? No. This is coaching. No coaching ever coaches somebody to screw up. They just screw up because they're poorly coached. Todd Downing, Ackerman, I mean, every time that we get mad at special teams, like, well, kicking, that's not his job. Returning, you can't blame him for that. That's not his fault. Lining up onside, no, that's not his fault. The fact that they haven't blocked any kicks or done anything like that, that's not his fault. When they had that horrible game against the Colts a couple years ago, when they got the guy off the FedEx truck to punt, and he got 2 of them blocked, no, that's not his fault. All I ever hear is how it's never his fault.
Okay.
When is it his fault?
Like I said, like the Bengals thing, I would put that on him. Like, they have to know. Like, that's on him. It was 19, right, when they won that game. Wasn't it the 19 game, a huge game that got them in the postseason because they did block a kick, correct, with Craig Ackerman? I just want to make sure.
It was 19 against the Colts.
Yeah, okay. I just, you've got the bad stuff all remembered. Like, there's never good stuff?
In 2019. 2018, Darius Jennings took a kickoff against Miami and ran it back for a touchdown. That game was so long ago, Ryan Tannehill started at quarterback for the Miami Dolphins.
I mean, someday, Jared, I hope your dream of getting Craig Ackerman fired is fulfilled. It's a worthy question. It's your holy grail.
Well, it's never going to happen. I mean, because Vrabel is going to go down with the ship on that one, but now I'm kind of rooting for that. Caroline, what's next?
Ellie Tolvanen in Seattle, looking good, cooking offensively. Did he need a change of scenery, or did the Preds mismanage Ellie Tolvanen? Jared, you go first.
I mean, Ellie Tolvanen has not shown up in the scorebook over the last 3 games, but I think the truth is that the Predators did mismanage Ellie Tolvanen. Ellie Tolvanen's a one-trick pony, but the one trick is really effective. And the Predators figured, that's not that important. Let's try to get him to check people. The truth is the Predators have no sense of reality anymore. I heard David Poyle yesterday say to Joe that Matt Duchene is an elite goal scorer. Matt Duchene, who is currently 105th in the NHL in goals. Matt Duchene, who since he's been here for 4 years, averages 27.5 goals over 82 games, and that includes his 43-goal season last year. I mean, the truth is the Predators have no sense of reality, and I think Eeli Tolvanen was failed by the organization. I think that he was failed by the organization. I don't think they allowed him to develop right. I don't think the expectations were fair when David Poyle said in 2018 that he was going to sign out of the KHL and join the top 6 right away and come to a team that was literally the best team in the league and compete for a spot. I don't think that they did him any favors with the role that this coach, who has never won anything and continues to fail young players, with the role that they gave him. And I think the Predators failed Tolvanen more than anything else.
More than anything else, Tolvanen is. I mean, he is what he is. He has a good shot. He's an underwhelming player. He's going to be an underwhelming player. This sample size in Seattle. I mean, this happens a lot. Players go to a new place. Good for him. He's caught fire a little bit, and look, is it possible that they figure out a way to use him better than the Preds do, or the system fits him better? Yes, but he's not going to be.
Is it likely? It's likely, Joe.
But here's the thing. That you're forgetting, Jared, is how much time in the top 6 he spent last season. He has not been strictly in a checking role his entire time. He got tons of opportunity last season, and for whatever reason, it didn't work out. Maybe that's on Hines too. I know you love blaming coaches for all the stuff that happens with players, so you can put on Hines. But more of the blame goes on Tolvanen than on the Preds. And as far as young players, look, I think the Tomasino thing's silly. I think he should be up here playing. But I am watching Cody Glass become a pretty good player right now. Cody Glass is a young player who has found his way and is one of the best players on their team, which is also a discredit to some of these veterans who aren't having the seasons they're supposed to be having. But, you can't say across the board all young players under Hines have failed.
Cody Glass has 6 goals this season.
Right. Again, So, if you want to talk about this stuff, Jared, if you want to talk about this stuff, the analytics are very easy to find, and they're very clear when he is going against top lines, such as last night, had a dominant performance. That's the whole reason he's where he is. You can like that or not, but if you're going to reduce this to, let me count up how many goals someone has, what are we doing here, Jared? Come on.
Last time I checked, goals are pretty important. By the way, somebody texted me last week and said that it looked like Cody Glass might be the first player in the history of the Predators that has ever benefited from a change of scenery. And I said, I sent this back. This was last Thursday, so maybe Cody Glass has changed his stats since then. But I said Cody Glass averaged 0.14 goals per game in Vegas. He averages 0.12 goals per game here. Congratulations to the Predators. They've really, really found a budding superstar here in Cody Glass. Boy, I tell you, between him and Jeremy Lozon, I don't know.
Center.
I don't know why fans don't believe this team's not going to turn the corner under this current management. I mean, they got Cody Glass. Well, I mean, what else is there to want? How dare you want good players on your team? You've got Cody Glass.
No, so again, you're going to take this to places I didn't take it. I'm just pointing him out as a young guy who's done well. Eeli Tolvanen is not he's okay. He might be a 20-goal scorer.
Don't the metrics say Cole Smith's a good player too?
Well, Cole Smith as a checking forward, which is all he is. He's here to be a checking forward. I think he's fine, yeah.
I mean, he scored a goal the other day, and it was like the end of a Disney movie when the fat kid gets his first home run and everybody lifts him up on their shoulders. That's what it felt like watching Cole Smith score and then everybody talk about it after the game. With that, though, Caroline, who won this week?
I think Rand Carthon is ready to move on from Ryan Tannehill. Jared wins this week.
Yes!
Yeah!
Caroline, I want your assessment of Joe's Craig Aukerman takes.
Of Joe's Craig Aukerman takes about very pro Craig Aukerman, that he thinks he's the best special teams coordinator in America?
That's what I heard.
Yep, that's what I heard too. I heard that Joe wants to marry Craig Aukerman. Well, okay, look.
He'll prove it.
The Titans are incredibly average to below average on special teams. The way that I view special teams is if you're talking about it, it's either for a really good reason or a really bad reason. And when we talk about the Titans special teams, it's for a really bad reason. And this is a results-based business, and special teams hasn't gotten better. So if you need to find the root of the problem, and if that problem is the coach, you need to move on from the coach. I'm not as fire Craig Ackerman as Jared is, but I mean, special teams are nothing special with this team.
Call me in 6 more seasons of this, and I think you might feel a little different. Caroline,
We'll
thank
see.
you so much. Joe, I will see you tomorrow at 7 a.m. Great stuff, guys. Jared versus Joe here on the program. Mel Kiper Jr.'s first mock draft is out, and he's got the Titans going offensive line. But there's a receiver that is right there in the ballpark, and I don't know if the Titans can draft him. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
I think it's a really good move. TD, it's never the offseason for ESPN's Teron Davenport.
I mean, that's something you obviously have to look at.
He's always talking about what's next for the Tennessee Titans.
Quarterback is a really important thing that they have to get determined.
Check out TD, Mondays at 1, Thursdays at 3, and Friday mornings at 8:30. Plus, the Talkin' with TD podcast.
Looking forward to that.
TD is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
The playoffs are in full swing, and Electronic Express is bringing you show-stopping deals. Come into any of our convenient locations and save big on 4K TVs from your favorite brands like Samsung, LG, Sony, TCL, Hisense, and more. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department. 4K TVs, computers, appliances, housewares, gaming, and more. Save up to 40% with up to 36 months free financing. Get big game ready in-store or online at electronicexpress.com. Electronic Express, we make it happen.
At Genesis Diamonds, it's not just a new year. It's a new opportunity to bring you more choices, more value, more ways to celebrate your love. So we've expanded our selection of exquisite hand-picked diamonds from a half carat to 15 carats, all shapes, all sizes, all at our famous no middleman prices. This year especially, we know price matters, and we're committed to delivering the best value every day. We've also brought in even more exclusive designer jewelry, new cutting-edge fashion-forward rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, pendants, things you can't find anywhere else. And of course, Genesis is proud to offer a truly spectacular collection of luxury pre-owned Rolex timepieces. We have all the most popular models in stock with no wait list and no restrictions. Is this the year you reward yourself with a premier name and timepieces? Come to Genesis in 2023 and let our non-commissioned experts help you celebrate those important milestones. We guarantee the best value, the highest quality, and the strongest warranties and guarantees in the jewelry industry. Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes.
When you want to rock.
Let's go, don't wait. This night's almost over. Do all the monsters come out at night? Why do we sleep when we want to?
We are Nashville's rock station. 102.9 The Buzz.
Hey, it's John Tesh. You want to know how to get better rates, better coverage, and better service on your home and auto insurance? Work with Zander Insurance. I know it's a big promise, but this team delivers. They've been around for almost 100 years and have earned the privilege of representing dozens of insurance companies so they can shop, compare, and find you the best options available. More options mean more savings, and in many cases, better coverage. But it doesn't stop there. Each year, they review your coverage to make sure your rates stay competitive. Nobody else does that. And when it comes to service, just check out their ratings. Zander is one of the top agencies in the industry, and they earned that spot with their commitment to making sure their clients are taken care of like family. That's what sets them apart. Go to Zander.com for quick online quotes or call 800-356-1780 for that personal touch that you've been missing.
TSU basketball lives on 102.1 The Ville. Join Coach Brian Petty Collins and the Tigers for every great moment in the OVC. On your home for TSU basketball, 102.1 The Ville and the Ville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Mookie Betts. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Along those lines, what's your policy then or your idea on bringing in guys who are currently injured or have a history of injury?
I mean, obviously you don't want to hopefully not bring in, injured guys, right? You can't get anything out of anyone if they're not available. So our mission is going to be to put, systems in place where we can get guys on the healthier side. But once you kick this thing off, nobody's ever 100%, again. So it'll be about, maximizing guys with where they are.
There you go. That was Rand Carthon last week, Titans general manager. And Mel Kiper's new mock draft is out. He has the Titans with the 11th overall pick taking Paris Johnson Jr., the tackle out of Ohio State. Now, I have some concerns about Paris Johnson. Bob Shoop likes him, which is important to me. But he played behind Nicholas Petit-Ferrer last year. He played guard. PT played left tackle. That makes me nervous. The fact that Ohio State has gotten manhandled by Michigan the last couple of years, that makes me nervous. And so I'm not completely sold. Plus, I think there are tackles available in free agency. I don't think there will be any receivers. Now, Mel has his first receiver going off the board at 13. That's Jackson Smith and Jigba to the Jets from Ohio State. The next wide receiver he has going off the board is Quentin Johnson out of TCU with the 22nd pick. So with that, I thought to myself, if Jackson Smith and Jigba is really all that good, would he make sense for the Titans at 11? But I don't know if a team that has drafted so many injured players and has gotten burned by drafting injured players can take the risk on Smith and Jigba. Here's what Mel Kiper Jr., though, said about the wide receiver who dealt with injuries this past season.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to see how this plays out because I still believe in Jackson Smith and Jigba. I don't think you hold a year where he had a hamstring and didn't produce because of it. Wasn't even on field to produce. So the hamstring was there. End of the year, still bother him. You can't risk that. You think about Jackson Smith and Jigba, the great year he had in 2021. What a year he had. I mean, he was awesome. I mean, this kid showed as a slot guy he could be phenomenal. And now what do? How far does he fall in the first round? Where does he end up?
And so Mel's like, I know he had a bad year last year, but he was hurt, so that's not a big deal. It's kind of a big deal to me. They need a receiver, and everybody told me coming into the season Jackson Smith and Jigba was that dude. And he still has him going 13 overall, but 10 catches for 49 yards. I don't know if the Titans can take somebody who was injured all of last year. Let's go to Adam in Portland. Phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com. Adam, thank you for waiting on Tom Brady and the Titans. Go ahead.
No, dude, you definitely know that they cannot take somebody who's injured. That's my big thing, man. I heard him say I don't do injured players. So, I agree. Man, you've been good the last few weeks, man, just to listen to this. I like the idea of Brady coming here. I just don't think it's going to happen. I could see a scenario where, and if you haven't thought about this yet, it makes too much sense, where he ends up back in New England, like LeBron with the Cavs. I don't know, man. I would hate to see that.
Why would he do that?
I don't. Who knows? Like, just because he loves New England, he loves the people.
Does he?
Like, does he? I mean, I don't know, dude. That's what makes the most sense to me. When I'm putting it out in front of me, I'm like, okay, we could get Brady, or we could end up with a rookie quarterback, and Brady goes back to New England and plays for a year or two.
I don't think Brady's going back. Thank you, Adam. I don't think, that it's come up from time to time that Brady's going to go back to New England. Why would he rest